Hello and welcome to Unacademy, a one-stop destination for all English medium civil service aspirants. In this session, we'll analyze the nature, difficulty level and the proportion of questions from different areas of anthropology syllabus this year. Before we start the session, a very important announcement. We are back with our lowest ever prices, 17,999 plus 12 months free extension. Do enroll before it is late. And don't forget to use the code IAS English to get connected with our team and also to get the best possible discounts. Let us now continue with our analysis. First of all, my observations about the 2025 anthropology paper, including both paper 1 and also the paper 2. This year, there is a huge proportion of questions from physical anthropology. And what is physical anthropology? In the paper 1, units 1, 9, 10, 11, 12, I am categorizing them as physical anthropology. While the unit 1 can also be categorized as archaeology. From the 5 out of total 12 units in the paper 1, 50% of the questions, that is 250 marks out of total 400 marks questions are given. This is a relatively huge proportion when compared to the previous years. Second observation is interlinking of the topics. They are not only interlinking various units and various chapters in the paper 1. In a few questions, there is also interlinking between paper 1 and paper 2. We have a very few questions which are purely given from a single unit or a single topic. Interlinking of the topics is always there. So, in general, I will keep highlighting the importance of interlinking the concepts, but this year, will further emphasize the importance of interlinking various topics from the syllabus. We should not consider the units or topics as isolated entities. We have to establish the connections between them. The third observation from this year paper is a large number of questions in the paper 1 particularly, a large number of questions from the paper 1 are based on or testing your general awareness or the brainstorming skills. They are not directly from the syllabus and not even from the current affairs. A general understanding of the society and connecting the dots, brainstorming and thinking in multiple dimensions and answering the question. Testing this kind of skills, we have a few questions. That is a third observation. And fourth observation is there are very few questions which are from the repeated questions from the previous years or the direct questions which are kind of copy pasted questions from the syllabus. There are very few such questions. But interestingly, 3 out of such questions, that is 2B, 4C, 8A, are from the unit 6. That is 50 out of 400 marks in the paper 1 is from the unit 6, which is called anthropological theories or anthropological thought. In general, thought is important. It is like the backbone of the socio-cultural anthropology. But this year further emphasized the importance of anthropological thought. There are very few questions which are directly given from the syllabus and 3 out of them are from the unit 6. These are my observations from the paper 1, particularly related to paper 1. And if you compare the paper 1 and paper 2, this year paper 2 is the easiest paper. This year paper 2 is easiest. Easiest in comparison to what? Last 10-15 years papers if I take, paper 2 if I compare, this is the easiest paper. Easiest or most predictable paper 2. Most predictable and easiest paper 2 this year when compared to many previous years. And when it comes to paper 1, is it difficult or moderate or easy? Let us take two separate scales here. If I take the scale of unpredictability, then you have to say that the paper 1 is on the side of the difficult papers. But if I take the scale of technicality or difficulty in learning or understanding, then it is one of the easiest paper. It means paper 1 is easy but unpredictable. I mean, there are several questions which are testing your general awareness or the brainstorming skills, interconnecting skills. That way if you take, this is a bit difficult, but overall it is an easy paper. And if I club the paper 1 and paper 2, the difficulty level is on par with the last 3-4 years. Easiest paper 2, most predictable paper 2, unpredictable paper 1, and if I club the two, on an average the total paper is at a difficulty level on par with the last 3-4 years. So these are my observations on both paper 1 and paper 2. Now let us continue our session with the analysis on the paper 1, and paper 2 I will discuss in a separate session. In the paper 1, the very first question, that is Mendelian and non-Mendelian traits. Who is Mendel? Gregor Johann Mendel is the father of genetics. He proposed 4 laws of genetics. The first law is called as law of unit factors. Law of unit factors states that one gene codes for one character. And law of dominance. Law of dominance states that in a heterozygote, when you have 2 alleles together, one allele will dominate the other completely and do not let the other allele express. This concept is called as dominance. That is, when you have capital T and small t, the length of the plant will be tall. It means the T allele is completely dominating the small t allele. This is called law of dominance. Then coming the law of segregation. Law of segregation. You all know that we have 46 chromosomes in a somatic cell, and during the formation of the gametes, the chromosomes will get segregated. The chromosomes will get segregated. That is, 23 chromosomes enter into one gamete and the other 23 chromosomes enter into the other gamete. Or if you take one gene pair like this, capital A, small a were together before the formation of the gametes, and during gamete formation, capital A entered into one gamete and capital small a entered into the other gamete. This is called law of segregation. Lastly, the law of independent assortment. This law states that when we study the inheritance of 2 characters together, the inheritance of one character do not influence the inheritance of the other character. For example, there is no rule that a tall man must be fair or a short man must be dark. A tall man can be dark or fair, or a short man can be dark skinned or fair skinned. From this, what we can understand, the gene which is inheriting the height is not influencing the gene which is inheriting the skin color. The 2 genes inherit independently. This is law of independent assortment. After knowing the Mendel's laws, then what are Mendelian traits? Mendelian traits are those traits which will follow single gene inheritance, and complete dominance. Such characters are called Mendelian characters. What are a few examples for single gene characters and that follow complete dominance? Examples are albinism, cystic fibrosis, phenylketonuria, and spinal muscular dystrophy. All these diseases are controlled by a single gene and follow complete dominance. Complete dominance means what? For example, if you take capital A, the person will suffer from albinism. Capital A, small a, also the person will be suffering from albinism. But only small a is normal, no albinism. It means this disease is controlled by a single gene, and also it follows complete dominance. In the heterozygote, the capital A is completely dominating the small a. This is one example. Then what are the examples for non-Mendelian characters? Non-Mendelian characters examples are incomplete dominance. Example being sickle cell anemia. Okay, like capital S normal, capital S, small s slight anemia. So if you observe, the capital S is dominating the small s but not completely. And small s suffer from the sickle cell disease or the sickle cell anemia. And the other example include incomplete dominance. Incomplete dominance is already completed. So the second one is codominance. So is codominance a Mendelian trait or a non-Mendelian trait? Non-Mendelian, because dominance is a Mendel's law. So codominance is a deviation from the law of dominance. Examples include ABO blood group system. Like if you have IA, it is A group. When you have IB, it is B group. But when you have IB, IA or IA, IB, then the blood group will be AB group. From this what we can understand, IA, IB both are equally dominant. And also the third example is multiple alleles. For multiple alleles also you can take the same ABO as an example. HLA is also an example. And the fourth example for non-Mendelian traits are polygenic inheritance. Polygenic inheritance is a deviation from which of the four laws? Law of unit factors. Law of unit factors states that one gene code for one character. Polygenic inheritance is about many genes coding for one character. Example, our skin color, intelligence, behavior, etc. So these are the non-Mendelian traits, Mendelian and non-Mendelian traits. Now moving on to the second question. The theoretical significance of the Purum kinship system. What is Purum group? It is a small tribal group in Northeast India belonging to the Tibeto-Burman ethnic group. And they have their own unique language. Their language is called as Kuki-Chin language. Then probably why Purum kinship system was asked this year? Because of the always ongoing conflicts between Kukis and Metis, and the Northeast India being always in, or most of the times in, ethnic conflicts. That can be one reason why this particular question is given, but in my opinion it is a random question, because if the Kukis and Metis were in discussion, they could have given about Kukis and Metis. If this is a question from current affairs, then they have to give the question about Kukis or Metis. But this is none of those two. And okay, so we can say that it is a random question, but in a way you have to link, then you can link to the ongoing ethnic conflicts in the Northeast India. That can be one reason why this question is given this year. Then, what are the key features of the Purum kinship system? They have 5 exogamous sibs. What do you mean by sibs in the first place? Sibs means lineages or clans. In their language they are called as sibs. The names of the sibs are Marim, Makan, Keyang, Thao and Parpa. These are the 5 lineages they have. These lineages are exogamous in nature. It is a feature of Purum kinship system, but it is a feature of the kinship system in general also, because usually descent groups are exogamous. We should not marry within the descent group, because the girls and boys belonging to the same descent group are considered as brothers and sisters. Next, they will follow patrilineal descent. I mean, their surname and the property goes from the father to the son. And they marry matrilateral cross cousins. They marry matrilateral cross cousins. It means, let us suppose there is a man, there is a woman, and they have a son. Let us call him as Ego. Ego is the reference point from whom the relations are traced. And Ego should marry their maternal cross cousins, but not the paternal cross cousins. Okay, I mean maternal cross cousin means Ego's mother, Ego's father, okay, and Ego's mother's brother, okay, his wife and their daughter, MBD, mother's brother's daughter, or matrilateral cross cousin. Ego should marry his matrilateral cross cousin, but not the patrilateral cross cousin. That is a rule. That is a rule they have. Okay. And each sib will have a leader. The leader is called Pipa. And what is the theoretical significance of the Purum kinship system? Because the question is about the theoretical significance of Purum kinship system. So what is Purum kinship system theoretical significance? As per an anthropologist called Rodney Needham, Purum kinship system demonstrates asymmetrical alliance system. Then what do you mean by asymmetrical alliance system? Let us suppose between two groups A and B, between the two groups A and B, if A are the wife givers and B are the wife takers, and B should not give the wife back. It is a unidirectional exchange. A family called B should only take the wife or bride. Better word we can use is bride. B can only take the bride from A but should not give the bride to the A. A is only wife or bride givers. In this particular case, tell me, this particular family, okay, is bride giver or bride taker? They are bride takers. Bride takers. And this particular family, if you observe, this family is bride givers, because this girl is going into this family after the marriage. So, in the society, there are two types of people. There are two types of people called bride givers and bride takers. This concept is called as social dualism. Social dualism means having two types of people, bride givers and bride takers. It is also called as asymmetric. It is also called as asymmetric alliance. Why that is called asymmetric alliance? If I draw an imaginary line in between the two, are the two groups, the red color circle and the green color circle, equal? No. The red color circle is bride takers, green color circle is bride givers. They are not equal. If you cut it into two halves, the two halves are not equal. This kind of alliance system is called as asymmetric alliance system. So, as per Rodney Needham, Purum kinship system demonstrates asymmetrical alliance system. It also supports alliance theory. What is alliance theory? Alliance theory proposed by Claude Lévi-Strauss will state that for the kinship, alliance is important. Matrimonial exchanges are important fundamental features of the kinship. That is according to Lévi-Strauss. That theory is called as alliance theory. Okay. So, this particular Purum kinship system, what is the theoretical significance? It provides an example for social dualism. It provides an example for social dualism, and asymmetric alliance system, and supports alliance theory proposed by Levi-Strauss. That is the theoretical significance of Purum kinship system. Now let us see the third question. Osteodontokeratic culture. Very simple. What is osteo? Osteo means bones. Dentos means teeth. Keratic means horns. Making weapons using bones, teeth and horns of the animals. So, osteodontokeratic tools are non-lithic tools. Can I say that they are non-lithic tools? Non-lithic tools means tools made up of material other than the stone. Stones are not used, some other material is used. This kind of tools are called as osteodontokeratic tools. Is it clear? What level of hominids made these kind of tools? These tools were made by Australopithecines. These osteodontokeratic tools are made by Australopithecines. But in general, if you have a grip on archaeology, you can think that the non-lithic tools are in general the characteristic feature of only the stages Upper Paleolithic onwards. That is, Upper Paleolithic, Mesolithic, Neolithic people used the animal bones or wood, non-lithic material to make the tools. But Australopithecines are actually associated with Lower Paleolithic. So, this makes us feel that maybe the osteodontokeratic tool technology is not intentionally made by Australopithecines. I repeat, making the tools from the non-stone material, that is wood or bones or horns or teeth, is observed only from the Upper Paleolithic, whereas Australopithecines are associated with Lower Paleolithic. It means Lower Paleolithic organisms like Australopithecines do not have a capability to make or the skill to make this kind of tools. So there is an idea by Charles Kimberlin Brain and his colleagues state that these modifications on the teeth, bones and horns are because of the carnivore attack but not by the Australopithecines shaping them to make the tools. It means probably these were accidentally made and the Australopithecines could have used them, but it is unlikely that the Australopithecines could have manufactured them intentionally. This is about the osteodontokeratic culture. Then, fourth question. Smell as a signal among the non-human primates. Smell as a signal among the non-human primates. Do we use smell to sense something? Yes, but our smelling sense is not as much as some other animals. But this question is not about human beings. This is particularly about the non-human primates, means monkeys, chimpanzees, apes, etc., excluding the human beings. And these primates use the smell sense. They have a better smell sense when compared to the human beings. What is the evidence to say that? Evidence to say that is a protruding snout. Snout is an elongated structure formed by the upper and lower jaw because of the protruding jaws. This includes not only the upper jaw, lower jaw, also the nose part of it. This portion will be protruding. This is called as snout. So, snout is an evidence to say that they are using the nose or olfactory sense. olfactory sense more when compared to the human beings. We don't have snout, we have straight jaws, we don't have protruding jaws as compared to certain apes, but apes have. It means what? When compared to human beings, definitely the other primates are using smell sense or olfactory sense to sense various prey or predator or identify the mate for different purposes. So, a snout is an evidence to say that the non-human primates were using smell sense to sense various things. Now let us see some examples. Chimpanzees use olfactory sense, which will help them to avoid interbreeding with the close relatives. Interestingly, chimpanzees can smell the close relatives. By smelling, if they identify that they are the close relatives, they are avoiding the mating with them. It means even chimpanzees know that inbreeding is not genetically good. I'm just joking. They may not know that they are genetically good, but they have a natural instinct or sense that they have to avoid mating with the close relatives. It is compared to our clan exogamy or lineage exogamy or incest taboo, avoiding mating with the close relatives, which we have in the human beings. Chimpanzees do not have such a cultural rule, but they are biologically sensing the close relatives through the smell and they avoid mating with them. Then next one, males potentially use smell to anticipate the mate's ovulation. I mean, a male ape can smell the female and say whether it is ovulating or not, so that it will mate with that female during the ovulation, so that there is a higher chance of childbirth. Then odor producing molecules in the male lemur will attract the females, just like some insects will secrete pheromones. These are not pheromones but certain chemicals, okay, scented chemicals produced by the male lemurs will attract the female like a mating invitation. It will attract the female for mating. And chimpanzees can smell the ground. They will sniff the ground and say that during the boundary patrols and identify whether any outsiders entered into its territory or not. Just by sniffing the ground, chimpanzees can say whether any outsiders entered into their territory or not. And more interestingly, wild gorillas can adjust, this is quite unexpected, wild gorillas can adjust the intensity of their scent signals based on the social situation. For example, if they have a stronger fear, then they will secrete strong smelling chemicals. If they have little fear, they will secrete less strong smelling chemicals. They can adjust the intensity of their body smell to express the exact situation. Beautiful nature, right? Then, and the evidence, as I told you, to believe that non-human primates are better at olfactory sense when compared to humans by observing the snout. Snout in the non-human primates indicate better olfactory sense. And reduced snout in the humans is indicating that humans have less olfactory sense compared to the primates. And this is explained by an evolutionary theory called Lamarckism. What is Lamarckism? It is a theory about use and disuse. Use and disuse. Plus another keyword is inheritance of acquired characters. Inheritance of acquired characters. So according to Lamarckism, just like the giraffe used its neck more, so the giraffe's neck length increased. Same way the primates use smell sense more, so their snout increased. The organ which we use more will develop better, and the organ which we do not use much will become weaker. This is use and disuse theory. And inheritance of acquired character, the long snout, the protruding snout is an acquired character. Protruding snout is an acquired character. Why this character is acquired? Because it is using the olfactory sense more. Because it is using the olfactory sense more. And this protruding snout is getting inherited. So, inheritance of acquired character. What is the acquired character here? Protruding snout. Why the primates got this longer snout? Because they are using the olfactory sense more. And the snout, that is including the nose part, the organ which they are using more developed better. And we are not using olfactory sense as much as primates. So, our snout length reduced snout we have. So, this is all about the smell as a signal among the non-human primates. Moving on to the next question. One thing. Can you draw, this is a chart explaining the primate taxonomy. That is, primates will be like prosimians and anthropoids. And anthropoids are again two types, platyrrhine, catarrhine. And catarrhine are again two types, cercopithecoids, hominoids. Hominoidea is again two types, hominidae and hylobatidae. Hominidae is again two subfamilies called homininae and ponginae. And homininae subfamily is divided into tribes called homininae, gorillinae. And homininae examples are humans and chimpanzees, and gorillinae example is gorilla. Ponginae examples are orangutan, and hylobatidae examples are gibbons. Okay, now should you draw this chart? Actually not needed, okay, because what is the question? Smell as a signal among the non-human primates. They are not asking you to write the classification of the primates. So, not needed. If you don't remember this chart, you don't have to panic. But by chance if you remember this chart, you can use it for value addition, particularly in the situations like, let us suppose, you don't know about these examples, that is chimpanzees will sniff the ground or lemurs will secrete scents and gorillas can adjust the smell intensity. You don't know these points. You have to write something and get some marks for this particular question. In that situation, this kind of information will become more important. This is not the actual expected content for this question, but you can use this content to manage when you do not know the question. So when you do not know the question, most probably try not to leave the question, and if you know anything about any word given in the question, write something, particularly try to write something which is impressive like this kind of flowcharts. So this is a tip to manage when you do not know the answer. Right. Now moving on to the next question. Culture and embodiment. Culture and embodiment. So first we can define culture, which is given by E.B. Taylor or Malinowski. I have given these two definitions because I found them to be simple and also the thinkers are popular thinkers. But if you find any other definition given by any other popular anthropologist, you can use that definition as well. And after writing the definition of the culture, now what is embodiment? Embodiment means culture becoming a part of our body, like a muscle memory. I'll give you some examples. You can observe a Javanese man, not only a Javanese man, even an Indian man, okay, particularly if he feels a little bit like an alpha male or going to gym or doing some workout, then you can observe the man walking like this, confidently, open the chest, okay, and you will observe the girls, particularly maybe not the very young modern generation girls, but in general you can notice the girls walking like this. Or in our childhood, like we used to walk with the books, with holding the books like this, we used to walk like this. You cannot expect this kind of things in the current generation, but they are the examples of culture embodiment. In my childhood, why I used to walk holding the books like this? Because gender is embodied in my body. I mean, like I have a muscle memory. I did not consciously do it. Unconsciously, when I had books in my hand or a bag in my hand, just covering like that. Okay, and why this particular behavior? Because it becomes, I am a female, that will become a muscle memory. Even unconsciously, I will feel like a female and behave like a female. So that is an example for cultural embodiment. Another example, Indian woman, particularly a Rajasthani or a North Indian woman, okay, or even a Muslim woman, subconsciously trying to cover the head and face when she is when she is talking to or interacting with the men who are not their husband or the sons, something like that. If not a very close man, some outsider, subconsciously, just like a muscle memory, she will cover the face and head like this, parda. Is it clear? These are some examples of cultural embodiment. I mean, culture becoming a part of our body. It will become a muscle memory, even like a reflex action, we do that. And for example, a woman from a very conserved family, if a stranger comes and offers a handshake, she may say like this. That is also kind of a culture embodiment. And an Australian man exhibiting a posture with chest out, chin up, confident, okay, conveys confident masculinity. And all these are the examples for gender embodiment. A man walking confidently, like with the chest out and the chin up and the hands little broad open like this, and the woman, okay, walking like this, a little obedient manner, or talking a little less loudly, okay, or covering the head or face. These are all the examples of cultural embodiment, okay. And now over time, these embodied practices become so natural that even unconsciously we practice it. That will become a second nature. It will become like a biology only. It will become a part of our biology. And what is the reason for this cultural embodiment? The reason for the cultural embodiment is social tuning or indoctrination. When I say indoctrination, I'll remember a rhyme that like comparing the earth shape, okay, the nursery rhyme wanted to explain that the earth shape is spherical, but the rhyme compares the spherical shape with mummy's roti and papa's paisa. So the child will understand that the paisa is associated with the father and the roti is associated with mother. Or gifting a boy child with a gun or an aeroplane and gifting a girl child with a Barbie doll or a kitchen set or a doctor set. All these are kind of indoctrinating, that is injecting in the brain that you are a female and you are a male. I observe in my neighborhood like first class boy, some 5-year-old boy, do not like to play with the girls. He will say, I will not play with the girls. These kind of things are called as social tuning or indoctrination. Marcel Mauss, an anthropologist, also wrote a book on this concept called The Techniques of the Body. In that book, he described how the seemingly natural physical actions like walking, sitting, eating, how do we eat, how do we sit, how do we walk, okay, they are not innate but they are learned. But they are learned too early in the child. So, when we do something in our homes, we should not think that the children do not understand it. Children are understanding. 1-year-old, 2-year-old children are understanding these things, and the culture and the cultural rules are becoming a part of their body even subconsciously. Okay, and habitus. What is habitus? It is a sociological concept introduced by another sociologist called as Perry Bourdieu, referring to a set of deeply ingrained, unconscious dispositions, perceptions, behaviors in the individuals acquired because of the social environment, our social interactions. So what is habitus? Habitus is kind of another word for this cultural embodiment. Okay, then, so how to study the cultural embodiment? You can do participant observation or in-depth interview, that is, ask the people how you are walking, how do you sit, how do you drink the water, how loudly you speak, will you laugh loud, in the public. So these kind of questions we have to ask, or collect their biographies, or do photography like our Big Boss show, do photography or videography and observe how the people are behaving in various situations. Okay, and hermeneutics. Hermeneutics also called as thick, not exactly like a synonym, but the thick description of texts or particularly religious texts can be called as hermeneutics. In general, this word is used for in-depth analysis. In-depth analysis of something. So here in-depth, what we are analyzing? The behavior, our muscle memory, body language, which is deeply shaped by the culture. So this is all about the cultural embodiment. Okay, then you can define culture, and also if you remember this culture elements forming culture complexes, and culture complexes forming the culture patterns together forming the culture. Should you draw this? Actually no need, because they are not asking you about the culture elements. But you don't know what is embodiment, you have to write something. Let us assume you know what is culture, but you don't know what is embodiment. Then how to deal with this question? Don't leave the question. Define culture, write 2 definitions, draw this structure and write some characteristics of culture. But don't do this kind of tricks for all the questions. That is, our first priority, our first goal, target should be learning, decoding, understanding and writing to the point answers to the questions, exactly what they are asking. But what you have to use this kind of tips and strategies when you don't know the answer. So write what other things you know about the culture. Now moving on to the next question, question 2a. Discuss Miocene hominid remains. First of all, what is hominids? Hominids means hominidae members. What do you mean by hominidae? That is the name of our family. And if you remember this chart, so can you use this chart for that question also, Miocene primates? Yes, you can use this chart for that question also. Okay, so let us just quickly see this once again. Primates is an order. What is an order? Order is a bigger group of organisms that will have 2 suborders. Not 2, it can have any number of suborders, but in the primates you have 2 suborders. They are called prosimians and anthropoids. And suborders will have infraorders. Here the 2 infraorders are platyrrhine and catarrhine. And infraorders will have superfamilies. So what is an infraorder? A group of superfamilies. What is a suborder? A group of infraorders like this. For example, okay, if this is a superfamily, okay, then this is a infraorder, okay, and this is another infraorder, for example, then in that case this will be like a suborder. Then if that is a suborder, if you take another infraorder like this, 2 more infraorders like this, okay, then the 2 together will be called as an order. I hope you got some picture. A group of superfamilies is called an infraorder. A group of infraorders together is called as a suborder. This green color circle is a suborder, okay, and a group of suborders, I mean the 2 suborders together, is called as one order. This is the classification. And our superfamily is called as Hominoidea, is the name of our superfamily. Superfamily will have a few families, okay, or a few families together is called as a superfamily. that is hominidae, hylobatidae are the two examples. So now look at this. What are the hominids? Hominids means hominidae members. Hominidae members are called as hominids. Okay. Now the question is about Miocene hominids. Miocene is a time period. It is an epoch. The Miocene epoch lasted from 23 million years ago to 5.5 million years ago. This was a period of significant ape diversity, that is, different varieties of apes were living during the Miocene period. And the diversity of apes in Miocene was far more when compared to the ape diversity in the present time. Around 30 different genera. Genera is a plural for genus. Genera is a plural for genus. Like say for example, if you go to this family level, below the family if you say subfamily, below the subfamily you have tribe, below the tribe you have genus, below that you have species. That is, a group of species is a genus. A group of genera is a tribe. A group of tribes is a subfamily, like that. Okay. There are around 30 genera of Miocene apes which are known as fossil primates. These fossil primates were found from Africa, Europe, Asia, etc. And they include the species like Proconsul, Keniapithecus, Sivapithecus, Dryopithecus, etc. What is the significance of the hominid evolution? Hominid evolution will help us understanding or reconstructing the evolutionary history of the hominids. Using the Miocene hominids, we can understand how the Homo sapiens came into existence. We can understand the origin of the modern man, Homo sapiens. And they provide insights into the characteristics of the last common ancestor. What do you mean by this last common ancestor? Look at this particular diagram. Should you draw this diagram? Yes. For this particular question, this diagram is very important. Okay. Then, if you observe Sivapithecus, Ramapithecus, Sivapithecus including Ramapithecus, it means Sivapithecus is equal to Ramapithecus. Now, based on our current understanding, Sivapithecus and Ramapithecus are not different, they both are one and the same. And Sivapithecus or Ramapithecus, if you observe, it is a common ancestor for Australopithecines, Homo sapiens, gorilla, orangutans, etc. Okay, so what is Sivapithecus or Ramapithecus? It is a common ancestor for Homo sapiens, chimpanzee, gorilla, orangutan, etc. And this is a common ancestor. Tell me, is it an ancestor before the divergence or after the divergence? This is an ancestor before divergence. Then, what is our direct ancestor? What is our direct ancestor? Direct ancestor means what? Direct ancestor means ancestor after divergence. You can observe the branching happened here. After the branching, one branch is Australopithecus and that Australopithecus evolved into Homo sapiens. So, Australopithecus is our direct ancestor, whereas Sivapithecus and Ramapithecus are the common ancestors. Now, in this Australopithecus or Sivapithecus, Ramapithecus, which are the Miocene fossil primates? These are the Miocene fossil primates. Is it clear? Okay, these are the Miocene fossil primates. So, what is the role of Miocene fossil primates? Look at the question. What is the role of Miocene hominids or Miocene fossil primates and their significance in the evolution? What is the significance of this Miocene fossil primates in the evolution? we can understand the process of the human evolution. Who is our direct ancestor? Who is our common ancestor? Who is our ancestor 20 million years ago, 15 million years ago, 5 million years ago? What is the process of human evolution? These things we can understand using the Miocene fossil primates. Okay. Then they provide insights into the characteristics of the last common ancestor. Who are the last common ancestors? The Sivapithecus, Ramapithecus, or the Miocene fossil primates. Then some key findings. I told you about Sivapithecus, Ramapithecus and Dryopithecus. Is that all, or do we have more species of the Miocene fossil primates? Okay, Rudapithecus hungaricus, Ororin tugensis, and Kenyapithecus, Sivapithecus, Dryopithecus, all these are the Miocene fossil primates or Miocene hominids. What is the advantage of Miocene hominids? Using them we will understand the path of the human evolution, the mechanism of the human evolution. And you can draw this diagram. Okay, drawing this diagram and covering the names of all these species, and this before divergence and after divergence. Before divergence common ancestor, after divergence, as I told you here, before divergence ancestor is called as common ancestor. After divergence ancestor is called direct ancestor. These terms, species names, proconsul, Kenyapithecus, Sivapithecus, Dryopithecus, these species names, Rudapithecus and Ororin, all these species names, this chart, common ancestor, direct ancestor like terms are very important. See to it that you will not miss the key words in the answer, and also see to it that you will write the answer to the point. Exactly what they are understanding the question we have to understand. But that is when we can understand exactly what they are asking in the question. Also when we know what they are exactly asking in the question. If we don't know that, observe the words given in the question and write something that you know about those words. That is to manage when you do not know the answer. Now moving on to the next question, that is symbolic and interpretive theories. Let us try to understand what is symbolic and interpretive theories. Symbolic theory, you can even draw this like a table. Okay, symbolic theory is by Turner, and interpretive theory is by Gates. Together it is called symbolic interpretive theory. Okay, but do we have interpretation in the symbolic approach? Yes, but symbols are given more importance. Do we have symbols also in the interpretive approach? Yes, but interpretation is given more importance. So here symbols are more important. Symbols are more important, but here interpretation is more important. That is the second difference. Then you may ask me, what do you mean by the statement that symbols are more important? According to symbolic approach, symbols have functional significance. Symbols have functional significance. Okay, what do you mean by symbols have functional significance? Look at here. Right. Turner explains his symbolic approach through the ritual called as Kanga ritual, and symbols have functional significance means what? Turner states that symbols initiate social action. I told you that according to Turner, symbols have functional significance. Means what? They perform certain functions. What functions they perform? They initiate social action, exert determinable influence, means observable influence. Like for example, a national anthem is played, then you will stand up. So that is an observable influence, and the national anthem is a symbol. So they exert determinable influence. Incline the persons or groups to action. For example, national anthem, national flag initiated patriotism in the people of the country and made them do a social action. Okay, made them do an action. What is that action? Participate in the freedom movement. Or symbols can resolve the dispute. For example, a white flag during the war may indicate now it is end of the conflict. Symbols may even resolve the disputes. Symbols cause social transformation. For example, like Russian Revolution, Communist Party symbol may cause society's transformation from capitalism to socialism. Okay, so symbols cause social transformation. Thus, according to Turner, symbols have a functional significance. I hope you fully understand what is the meaning of the statement that symbols have functional significance. But according to Geeds, symbols do not have functional significance. What is the role of symbols? Symbols carry the culture. Symbols carry the culture. It means they are the vehicles of culture. They will help the anthropologist. They will help the anthropologist to interpret culture. You can use, according to Geeds, culture of a society is not hidden in the minds of the people. In this statement, he is questioning the idealist thinkers like Levi-Strauss, Tyler and Conklin, that is structuralism and the cognitive theories. According to Geeds, culture of a society is not hidden in the minds of the people. Who felt that the culture of a society is hidden in the minds of the people? Idealist thinkers like Levi-Strauss or Tyler and Conklin, cognitive theory, etc. Okay, according to Geeds, culture is not hidden in the minds of the people. Then where is it? It is expressed in the form of the symbols. You can observe the symbols. And why should you observe the symbols? To understand the symbols? No. We should not observe the symbols to understand the symbols. We have to study the symbols to understand the culture of that society or interpret the culture of that society. So, according to Turner, symbols have functional significance. They will perform all these functions. But according to Turner, symbols just carry the culture. They express culture. An anthropologist can study the symbols to understand the culture. Okay? Then, so first point, which is already covered, that is, it is divided into two major approaches, symbolic and interpretive approach. Symbolic approach is associated with Victor Witter Turner, and interpretive approach is associated with Clifford Geeds. And these are the functional significance of the symbols. And Geeds states that the culture is expressed in the form of the symbols. The symbols will reveal how the individuals see, feel or think about the world. I mean, observing the symbols, we can understand the mindset, way of thinking of the people. And next difference, Geeds was influenced by Max Weber. Next difference, influenced by Max Weber, and Turner was influenced by Emil Durkheim. Okay, Emil Durkheim. So Geeds was influenced by Max Weber, a sociologist, who felt that sociology was an interpretive understanding of the social action. It means, according to Max Weber, sociology is not a subject of the facts. It is a subject of the interpretations. For example, what is marriage? There is no fact about it to explain what is marriage. There are different interpretations by different thinkers about what is marriage. That is what Max Weber said. And being influenced by Max Weber, who said this, Geeds given that approach called as interpretive approach. Okay, Max Weber said sociology was an interpretive understanding of the social action. Influenced by him, Clifford Geeds has given the interpretive approach, whereas Turner is influenced by Emil Durkheim. What Emil Durkheim said is, like there are different ways, the symbols will operate in different ways in the society. And Emile Durkheim said, every trait in the culture has a function. Emile Durkheim said, every trait in the culture has a function. This is what Emile Durkheim said. And how the Turner applied? Turner applied this to symbols. And Turner proposed that each symbol has a function. Each symbol has a function. So, like this, in a small table, you can write the differences between symbolic and interpretive approach, or Turner and Geeds. Interestingly, this is one of the favorite questions for UPSC. The same question repeated 4 times in the last 12 years. In the last 12 years, the same Turner and Geeds differences repeated 4 times. Then, now, is it enough if we write the differences in the form of the table or the differences in the form of the paragraphs like this, or should we also mention the case studies? We have to explain the case studies also. Write the case study given by Turner for symbolic approach, and also write the case study given by Clifford Geertz for interpretive approach. So, Turner explained the symbolic approach through a case study called Ritual Symbolism, Understanding the Nembu Society through Kanga Ritual. Okay, Victor Turner for symbolic approach studied the Nembu Society. Where is this tribe located? Africa. And in the Nembu Society, what he studied? Kanga ritual. What is Kanga ritual? It is a menarche ritual. And menarche is a first period of the girl, that is a girl getting matured. So this is a kind of rites of passage. Rites of passage. Rite is a root word for, the word rite is a root word for ritual and passage. Rites of passage means this is a particular celebration or a ceremony which is conducted on the occasion of an individual passing from one stage to the other stage. Okay, Kanga ritual is a type of rites of passage. Is that clear? Okay, and what is a symbol here? The Kanga ritual itself is the symbol. Kanga ritual itself is the symbol. Is it clear? Then, so Kanga is a menarche ritual during which mother and daughter will exchange the clothes. Mother will give her clothes to the daughter, indicating that now the daughter can enter into the mother's role. Now the daughter can enter into the mother's role. That is, this will indicate the transition. So, transition from one stage, from the girl stage to the woman stage. From the girl stage to the woman stage. Is that clear? Next. Geertz explained his interpretive approach through his case study called as Deep Play Notes on Balinese Cockfight. He used Balinese cockfight to explain a kind of a social stratification. Let us suppose the topmost you have the men who will participate in the cockfight and they own the cocks. They own the cocks. Like a bullfight, cockfight between the two birds, right? They own the cocks in big matches. They own the cocks in big matches. And second level are the men who own the cocks, in small matches. And third level are the men who do not own the cocks, they do not directly participate in the cockfight, but they involving bettings, like our IPL match. The team owners will purchase the teams, spending thousands of crores or hundreds of crores to that matter. Okay, and poor people or common people outside the match, what they will do? They will download some betting apps and they will participate in betting. So here also they do not own the cocks which are fighting, but they will bet on the cocks. And the bottommost you have the women, and the children who do not even have money for participating in the betting. They keep playing the dice games like Ludo, Snakes and Ladder, etc. I mean, they are out of the cockfight scenario. They keep playing the other games. Okay, this is what he observed. Actually more than that, but in a paper analysis class I cannot go more deeper than this one. In the regular class we will understand the total cockfight, okay, event. So here briefly I just told you. This is indicating two things, or Geats made two interpretations from this event. First thing, there is a stratification. Balinese society, Bali people, they have social stratification, class stratification. Some people are rich, some people are poor, all are not equal. Also you can observe that Bali is a patriarchal society because women do not have the money for betting. This is all about men. Okay, so it means, what is the symbol here? Symbol is the cockfight, Balinese cockfight. We also have such cockfight as a culture in Andhra Pradesh. Same way we have Jallikattu, the fight between bulls in Tamil Nadu, and Spanish bullfight. All these are the similar events. So he is considering an event called Balinese cockfight as the symbol. By observing the symbol, these are his interpretations. If you draw this, it is a value addition. And you have some criticism here. Cultural ecologists, cultural materialists demand that show me something which is more observable. And also they criticize these symbolic interpretive thinkers as fuzzy-headed mentalists. Okay. And also, since different anthropologists could view the same symbol in different ways, the materialists demand that show me something which is more objective. It means what? These are the Clifford Geertz interpretations from Balinese cockfight. But if another thinker interprets the same event, his interpretations can be different. So this is subjective. Show me something which is more objective. These are the criticisms. Briefly, this is the difference between symbolic and interpretive, or Turner and Geertz. Now moving on to the next question. Okay, how political economy is integrated with ecological adaptability perspectives in biocultural anthropology. You can use a flow chart for this particular question. Okay, the flow chart is, we can start like the biological aspect. What is the biological aspect here? We need a few things because we are biological organisms. That is, first of all, we want to survive. And then we want to be healthy. And then after that comes priority to be comfortable. So these are the three things we need as a biological organism. And for these things, we need adaptability. Adaptation means what? Adjustment. We need to adjust to the ecological conditions. Is it clear? When we have to adjust to the ecological conditions, there are two different ways in which we can adjust to the ecological conditions. One is biological and the other one is cultural. What are the examples for cultural adaptations to ecological conditions? Like an insulating house, insulating clothes, etc. Okay, and biological adaptations examples are kind of having fair skin in cold climate, broad nose, in hot climate, etc. That is biological, or increased lung capacity in high altitude conditions. Okay, so like this we have biological adaptations. Okay, what all words are covered in this from the question? Biological word is covered, biocultural anthropology, biological covered, cultural covered, adaptability covered, and ecological covered, ecological adaptations, adaptability. Is it clear? And what is not covered yet? Political economy. Here, it is not political separately and economy separately. There is a concept called political economy. And what do you mean by political economy? Political economy is about the influence. Political economy is about the influence of social stratification. Okay, the influence of social stratification or differential access of resources to different strata of the society. Okay, economic resources are distributed according to the social stratification. That concept is called as political economy. How the social stratification, that is whether you are rich or poor, or whether you belong to higher social stratum or lower social stratum. A political structure, for example, you have capitalism. In a political structure called capitalism, you have two types of people. Okay, rich or poor, or the capitalist, or that is bourgeois and proletariat, or rich and poor, higher stratum, lower stratum. Because of this political structure, there is a differential access to economy. That concept is called political economy. Is it clear? I repeat, due to a political structure like capitalism, there is differential access to economic resources to the people. That concept is called as political economy. Now let us include that word also, that is political economy. Political economy will influence both our cultural adaptations. I hope you are able to see this chart. Political economy will influence our cultural adaptations and also biological adaptations. How? For example, cultural adaptations. According to the political structure, that is in a capitalist society, if I belong to the higher social stratum, then I have access to insulating clothes, insulating house, or air conditioners, room heaters, etc. Is it clear? Same way, in the political structure, if I belong to higher social stratum, I will have access to high calorie food, okay, or certain kind of biological aspects also. Is it clear? Staying protected, okay, all these things. So it means political economy will influence the differential access to opportunities for our adaptations to different ecological conditions. It means rich people are better adapted to the ecological conditions. For example, if the rich people cause pollution by using air conditioners or cars, and who is suffering from the pollution? The poor people are suffering from the pollution. It means what? Rich and poor do not have the same ecological conditions. Is it clear? What is shaping the ecology around us? Say we are living in clean environment and releasing the pollution outside, like I'm using the air conditioner right now. Okay, so this is how I'm living in a clean ecological conditions because of belonging to a better stratum in a political structure called capitalism. So this is the overall flow chart explaining the answer for this question. Now let us go more into the details. Okay, so you can first write some introduction and then draw this particular flow chart. Then the people of lower socioeconomic strata are more prone to nutritional deficiency diseases like kwashiorkor marasmus, vitamin and mineral deficiency diseases like vitamin B12, vitamin D deficiency, rickets, all those things. And also poor people get more prone to infectious diseases because they are living in unhygienic and polluted conditions and more exposed to the pathogens. Okay, then same way asbestosis for the asbestos miners, black lung disease for the coal miners, silicosis for the quarrying labor, bicyanosis for the people who are working in the cotton textile industry. Obviously, belonging to a higher socio-economic stratum, people are not expected to get these kind of diseases. Is it clear? This is one angle. And then infectious diseases like cholera, typhoid, malaria are also more to the lower socio-economic stratum. Then what are the diseases common in higher socio-economic stratum? Chronic diseases like obesity, diabetes, cardiovascular diseases, etc. And it is not only about diseases. Is this question about the diseases? No. This question is in general about our adaptations. Adaptations to various stresses. Infections and nutritional deficiency are the two types of stress. What are the different stresses that we may encounter? One is infections. The other one is nutritional deficiency. Okay, and the other one is high altitude or cold climate or hot climate. These are the different types of stresses we have. Okay, and political economy also influence access to cultural adaptations to ecological conditions like air conditioners, room heaters, insulating clothes, insulating homes, high calorie food, all these things. It will help in adjusting to high altitude, cold climate and hot deserts. So in this question you can cover adaptations to all these kind of ecological stresses and how the political economy is influencing the way we will adapt to these kind of ecological stresses. That's all about this question. Okay, and there is one more point you can write. Okay, a beautiful point that you can add is Elman Service, a neo-evolutionist. Elman Service. Also he studied in political, see it's a connection between Unit 6. Unit 6 neo-evolutionist, Elman Service. And actually this is about Unit 4, that is political anthropology, and also about Unit 3, that is economic anthropology, and also about 9.7, that is like ecological anthropology. Ecological anthropology. Okay, so it is a combination of these many units, right? So Elman Service said that if the ecology is forest, then our economy, okay, actually you can write this like a table. That is, you can divide this into 3 columns. First column, ecology. Second column, economic organization. Third column, political organization. Okay, because they are asking political economy. If the ecology is forest, look at here, if the ecology is forest, then the economic organization will be hunting and gathering. And politically they have band political organization. And ecologically, if they are living in partly fertile land, then economically they will do horticulture. And the political organization they have is tribal political organization. And ecologically, if they are living in hilly areas or grasslands, economically they will follow pastoralism, and politically they have chiefdom type of political organization. So, and ecologically, if they are living in fertile land or near the rivers, then economically they will perform agriculture for subsistence, and then they will have state political organization. So you can just write it in the form of a table, okay, with 3 columns. A table with 3 columns. One is ecology, and then economic organization and the political organization. Okay. Now moving on to the next question. How anthropologists assess the nutritional status of a community? Let us first deal with the first part of the question, how to assess the nutritional status. For example, looking at a person, how can you say that the person is overfed or starving? Can we say that just by looking at the person? Yes, that is firstly by anthropometry. Firstly by anthropometry. Okay, that is you can measure the weight, height, body circumference, that is the belly circumference, chest circumference, arm circumference, like that, and the skin fold, that is if you pinch the skin like this and measure it using a skin fold caliper. There is instrument called as skin fold caliper. Okay, then also you can understand the nutritional status of the person. Or else clinical assessment, I mean you can say based on the skin, hair, mouth. Okay, traditionally our doctors used to say whether you are healthy or not by observing your tongue or like checking your eyes like this. So if you have pale color eyes here, it means you are anemic, or pinkish color eyes here, then it means you have good amount of hemoglobin. So that kind of clinical assessment means you don't need a laboratory. A doctor in his clinic can look at you and tell. That is second method. Third one, biochemical, that is vitamin D test, B12 test, lipid profile test. Okay, will tell you how much cholesterol you have, how much triglycerides you have, how much B12 you have, how much vitamin D you have. This kind of tests using the biological samples like blood or urine, etc. So this is how anthropologists assess the nutritional status of a community. Now the next part of the question is discuss the significance of intersectionality. Again, this is a question from the from covering the multiple areas of the syllabus. Intersectionality, interconnectedness of ecology, culture, social inequality in the study of nutritional anthropology. What is the role of ecology, culture and social inequality in nutritional anthropology? Okay, so you tell me, do people of all ecological conditions eat similar type of the food? No. Same place also different seasons. For example, if you observe the Delhi city, in the summer season the food they eat, and in the winter season the food they eat is totally different. Like say for example, sarson ka saag, makki di roti, this kind of items, or gajak or gazak, I don't know the exact pronunciation being a South Indian, pardon me. Okay, so that is made up of peanuts or jaggery, different types of seeds and nuts. Why? High calorie food that will generate more heat in the body. Okay, so it means whatever food is related to nutrition is related to ecological conditions. Is the food related to cultural conditions? Yes, of course. Let us see how culture. Taboo on beef consumption in Hindus, taboo on pork consumption in Muslims, taboo on meat consumption in Brahmins, Vaishyas of Hinduism and also in the Jains, and taboo on underground food like potatoes or sweet potatoes or onions in Jains. So this is how culture will decide your nutrition. Next segment, ecology will decide your nutrition. For example, in the United States and other developed countries, milk and dahi, curd, are being fortified with vitamin D and vitamin A, because a huge majority of the people are having vitamin D deficiency. So vitamin D and A should be added in some food. Fortified food means what? A food in which nutrients are added, extra nutrients are added. Okay. Why to add vitamin D and A only in the curd and milk? Because they are fat soluble vitamins. These are fat soluble vitamins. Is it clear? And Inuit people, it is a branch of Eskimos. Inuit is a group of Eskimos of American subarctic region. Subarctic, it will be very cold. So the solar radiations are very less. And we manufacture the vitamin D using the solar radiations. So there is a chance that they will get vitamin D deficiency. So they have a culture of eating the fish and sea mammal blubber which is high in the vitamin D content. It means our food habits are also based on ecology. Also, for example, in Kolkata, there is a cultural habit of consuming more fish. Not only Kolkata, coastal areas there is a cultural habit of consuming more fish. And in the geographic regions which are far away from the sea, they do not have a culture of consuming the fish, right? Same way, another very important interlinking, you can interlink it with something in the unit 6. In the unit 6, there is a theory called diffusionism. In that, there is one branch called American School of Diffusionism. It is also called as Culture Area School of Diffusionism. Clark Whistler is one of the thinkers of that particular school. He did a case study on culture areas particularly based on the food habits. So, we call those culture areas as food areas. That food areas table which I have given in the notes can be used here as a value addition. Because they are focusing on intersectionality, let us also bring one content from the unit 6 and write it here. Now, social inequality. Obviously, access to nutrition or nutritional deficiency diseases are more common in the people of the lower socio-economic strata. Nutrition in our syllabus is given in multiple places. For example, unit 12, nutritional anthropology. 9.7, ecological anthropology and the suitable food. And also 9.8, epidemiological anthropology. Epidemiological anthropology, that is about diseases, and there you will study about nutritional deficiency diseases. See, even our syllabus itself is cross-sectional and multi-sectorial syllabus, overlapping the topics, okay, or same topic given in different units in different contexts. And also food area in the unit 6, that is the cultural food in different geographical areas. So, like this you can deal with this question asking about intersectionality of ecology, culture and social inequality in the study of the nutritional anthropology. So, there are two parts of the question. First, how do you assess the nutritional status? Second one, what is intersectionality between ecology, culture and social inequality in determining our nutritional status. Okay. Moving on to the next question. Critically examine the drawbacks in assuming culture as an integrated closed system. Okay. What do you mean by integrated closed system? Here you have to observe two words. First one, okay, integrated. Second one, closed. What do you mean by integrated? You can use this diagram here. Okay. What is the smallest unit of the culture? Culture trait or culture element. Okay, so these are the culture traits. A group of culture traits together will form what? Culture complex. So this is one culture complex and this is another culture complex. A group of culture complexes together is called as a culture pattern. So this is a culture pattern. Is it clear? And a group of culture patterns together is called as the culture as a whole. Sorry, this is a mistake. This is culture as a whole. Culture as a whole. Okay. So, this particular diagram will justify the word integrated or closed. Which word this particular diagram will justify? This diagram justifies the word integrated. Integration means what? Integration means all assembling together to form a whole complex. So, group of culture traits will form culture complex, a group of culture complexes will form a culture pattern, a group of culture patterns will form a culture on the whole, okay, as an integrated entity, right. We understood what is the word integrated in this integrated closed. And what do you mean by the word closed? Now examining the second one, closed. Closed means what? Every society will have a unique culture, not ready to change. For example, Hindu culture, we consider cow as a sacred animal and we have a taboo on the beef consumption. This is Hindu culture. So the Christian or Muslim culture may have beef consumption, but do we follow the beef consumption looking at them? No, we don't want to take it. We resist the change. Is it clear? Same way, Muslims have a taboo on the pork consumption. So looking at the Christians or Hindus, will they start consuming the pork? No, they resist the change. For example, we are monogamous society. Okay, say Nair society at one point of time was polyandrous. Okay, looking at them, do we also follow polyandry? No, we resist the change. This is called culture is a closed system. We follow our own cultural rules. We do not follow the rules of the other cultures. This is the meaning of the culture as a closed system. You have to cover both the angles, integrated and closed. Okay, now let us see this. First of all, how to deal with this? Define the culture, either given by Malinowski or given by E.B. Tylor, because I have given them because they are the easier ones. You can also give the definition given by some other thinker as well. And then now explaining culture as an integrated closed system. Culture is a complex network of interconnected and interdependent elements which are integrated, that also exhibits distinct boundaries. The culture also has got distinct boundary. Is it clear? So not letting the other culture elements, you can draw like this also. You can add this. This is the boundary. Okay, so draw a block. Okay, do not let the entry of the culture elements of the other culture. So this will explain the meaning that closed. No, we don't want to practice polyandry looking at the polyandrous society, and say if I am a Brahmin, I don't want to start consuming the meat looking at the meat consumers, and if I am a Hindu, I need not start beef consumption looking at the beef consumers, like that. Okay, so just by looking at the other people, we are not changing our cultures. Okay, and this diagram will also explain about the integrated. I hope you understood the meaning of integrated whole. Where do you get this answer? Is it current affairs based? No. Is it directly from the syllabus? No. It is from your general awareness and brainstorming. I mean, you have to understand the word integrated, means that diagram should strike to you. Closed means what? Okay, its boundary is closed, not letting somebody come inside, like that. So like that, application based question. Is that clear? We cannot call it as out of syllabus, but or not even dynamic current affairs based, but okay, application oriented, or you have to derive it from your brainstorming. Example, endogamy. Okay, we marry within the communities. Caste restrictions on commensality like untouchability, restrictions on accepting the food from the other groups, other castes, having unique rules in each culture are some examples. Okay, and theoretical framework, which is very important because they are highlighting on intersectionality. Progressively, year by year, we should also practice more intersectionality. That is, we should write the answers which are overlapping between various units. So let us bring unit 6 here. Okay, theory is like evolutionism. Evolutionism by Tyler, Morgan, Frazer. They say that the culture elements of a particular culture are invented by the natives of that culture. That is called independent invention. It means we did not take the culture elements from the other cultures. We develop our own cultures. We do not take the elements from the other cultures. So this theory support that the culture is the closed system. Right. Whereas diffusionism, particularly British school of diffusionism by G.E. Smith, W.J. Perry and W.H.R. Rivers. So it's just opposite. According to them, man is dumb, uninventive. He cannot invent anything. So whatever cultural rules man is following, he is learning from the other culture. What is that other culture? Egypt. According to them, culture originated only in Egypt, and from Egypt got migrated to different places. So therefore, will the diffusionism support that culture is an integrated closed system? No. It is taking culture elements getting diffused, means it is open to take the culture elements from the other places. So it is opposing that. Okay, do not consider that the culture is an integrated closed system. And a flexible diffusionism like German school of diffusionism considers both, that is some of the elements in our culture we are inventing and some of the elements in the culture we are taking from the other cultures. I mean the culture is partly closed, partly open. Okay, so like this you can also write about the theories. And also isolation and assimilation. The moment when you listen isolation word, who will come into your mind? Okay, Verrier Elwin. And the moment you listen assimilation, who will come into your mind? G.S. Gure. So G.S. Gure supported that the tribal culture must be protected from the, Verrier Elwin stated that the tribal cultures must be protected from the external influence and the tribals must be isolated. And G.S. Gure said that the tribals must be assimilated into the Hinduism. So isolation versus assimilation, which one will support that the culture is an integrated closed system? Isolation argument will support that the culture is an integrated closed system. Assimilation means you are mingling the tribal cultures into Hinduism, means it is not closed. For example, Heimendorf Führer said, Apartanese tribe is developing because of the isolation and Gond tribe is deteriorating because of the exploitation by the non-tribal people. It means what? Due to the external influences, Gond tribe people are deteriorating. Because of the lack of external influences, Apartani tribe is flourishing. I am not saying this as a matter of fact, but it is the opinion by Heimendorf Führer, Christoph von Heimendorf Führer. Also, Jawaharlal Nehru proposed the Panchashil principles and D.N. Majumdar. These two are according to the concept called selective integration. It means a tribal culture. A tribal culture should be like this. I mean, few things should be given. Few things should not be given. Okay, I mean partly closed. The tribal cultures must be partly closed. Okay, so is it supporting that the culture is an integrated closed system or opposing? Partly closed, it's not fully closed. Isolation should say that the culture should be closed, the tribal culture must be closed. Assimilation will say that the tribal culture must be open so that other cultures like Hinduism, Christianity, etc., particularly Hinduism, can influence the tribal culture and change the tribals into the Hindus. Okay, so like this is called selective integration. Okay, what are the drawbacks? Because the question is particularly asking you the drawbacks. What are the drawbacks of considering culture as an integrated closed system? When you consider culture as an integrated closed system, you are ignoring globalization and exchange of culture elements between the cultures. We are wearing Western dress, eating the Western food and speaking in English language. Okay, what about all these things? There are cultural exchanges and there is homogenization of the cultures. If you observe the cities like Mumbai, Delhi, they are more or less like New York. Okay, I mean the cultures, if you go to some place, there is nothing peculiar to see. We get everything everywhere. In my childhood, imported chocolates used to be crazy for us. But now you will get imported chocolates in India also, foreign chocolates in India also. Is it clear? So like that, the cultures are getting homogeneous, okay, because of the exchange of the cultural elements. You will ignore that. And you are ignoring the Sanskritization. What is Sanskritization? Lower caste people imitating the lifestyle of the higher caste people. Means according to this, according to Sanskritization, lower caste culture is not closed. They are trying to take the elements from the higher caste. Also interplay between little and great tradition. Okay, here little tradition refers to the tribal culture, great tradition refers to the non-tribal culture. Tribal culture and non-tribal culture are exchanging the culture elements. I mean, you can write like this also, like little tradition and great tradition, better. Great tradition, little tradition will exchange the culture elements. Okay, If the culture elements go from the little tradition to the great tradition, that is called universalization. Universalization. If the culture elements go from the great tradition to the little tradition, that is called parochialization. This is all cultural exchange. This is all cultural exchange. Is it possible if the culture is closed? No, it is possible only if the culture is open. Is that clear? So therefore, what are the drawbacks in considering the culture as an integrated closed system? You cannot explain globalization, you cannot explain cultural exchanges, and the cities across the world, at least the metropolitan cities across the world, are becoming similar, because of the cultural exchanges. Lower caste getting the cultural elements from the higher caste people, Sanskritization, tribals and non-tribals exchanging their cultures, little tradition and great tradition interplay, that is universalization and parochialization. So these are all cannot be explained if you consider culture as an integrated closed system. So here you are clubbing the unit 1 with the, even the paper 1 with the paper 2. Not only different units in the paper 1. You are bringing even Sanskritization and universalization, parochialization are from the paper 2. So therefore progressively you have to focus more on the intersectionality. Now moving on to the next question. Difference between pedigree and genealogical analysis. Let us see the difference between the two. First of all, pedigree means a line of ancestors or a list of ancestors. And the word pedigree originated from a French word which means foot of a crane. Because crane's foot is like this. It looks like branching. Look at here, this is a pedigree. Therefore it is like a crane's foot. Like a crane's foot, you can have branches like this. So therefore it is called pedigree. And it is a traditional account of the descent. And sorry, this I have to exchange by mistake. This is placed here. Write it like this. I will shift it later. Pedigree is often used in genetics to understand the inheritance pattern of the diseases. Like this is an autosomal dominance disease. Whereas genealogy is often used in understanding the kinship structures. For example, it is Iroquois system of kinship terminology. So this is a genealogy and this is a pedigree. You can draw them for value addition. Is that clear? And so these are some differences. And genealogy is a study of families and tracing of the lineage history, because you are tracing the lineage history in the genealogy. And we particularly use genealogy in the understanding of kinship. So briefly, pedigree is used in genetics and genealogy is used in sociology or socio-cultural anthropology, that is tracing the kinship, like kinship terminology, inheritance pattern, the types of descent like unilineal descent, double descent, bilateral descent, bilinear descent, ambilineal descent, like that, different types of descent, different types of kinship terminology like Iroquois system or Hawaiian system or Sudanese system or Crow system or Omaha system. So like that we use in the kinship analysis, social or socio-cultural anthropology. That is the first difference. I repeat, pedigree for genetics, to study autosomal dominant, autosomal recessive, X-linked dominant, X-linked recessive, Y-linked diseases like that. Genealogy is used in the study of sociology or socio-cultural anthropology, like types of descent, types of kinship terminology, etc. Second difference is pedigree is just a list of ancestors. It is just a traditional account of the descent, whereas genealogy is little deeper. It is the analysis of the relations mentioned in the pedigree. Which is more deeper? Genealogy is more deeper when compared to the pedigree. Pedigree is just a list of the ancestors and genealogy is analysis of the relation between them. And the third difference is the meaning of the word. Genealogy, okay, genia means generation, logos means knowledge, knowledge about the generations. So pedigree means a crane's foot in French language. Genealogy means generation knowledge in Greek language. Okay, I hope the differences are clear. You can draw a pedigree, you can draw a genealogy. Okay, and then what are the history and applications? Okay, history and applications of genealogical method. An anthropologist called W.H.R. Rivers, in his Torres Straits expedition, used the genealogical method for the first time. And I also already told you what are the applications of the genealogical method. We can use to study the types of descent. What are various types of descent? Unilineal, bilineal. So in bilineal you have bilineal, bilateral, ambilineal, okay, cross descent, parallel descent, like that you have different types of descent. And also you can study the kinship terminology. What are the different types of kinship terminology? Like classificatory terminology, and descriptive terminology, or Crow system, Omaha system, Iroquois system, Hawaiian system, Sudanese system, etc. And you can also study the inheritance of the chiefdom. This kind of things you can study using the genealogy. What you can study using the pedigree, applications of pedigree, you can study the genetic diseases, various patterns of genetic diseases like autosomal dominant, autosomal recessive, X-linked dominant, X-linked recessive, Y-linked diseases, etc. These are the applications. Okay, autosomal dominant, autosomal recessive, okay, X-linked recessive, X-linked dominant, and Y-linked diseases can be studied. You can write examples for each. Okay, like that. These are the applications. Moving on to the next question, that is 4a. Okay, anthropology provides multi-dimensional. This is a third question this year paper we are discussing, asking the questions clubbing different topics of the syllabus. Okay, anthropology provides multi-dimensional understanding of human beings by bridging the gap between the science and humanities. Okay, this will remind me my favorite quotation, okay, that almost if you have attended any of my orientation classes or the first class in any course, I will start with this quotation, my favorite quotation, that is, anthropology is the most humanistic of the sciences and most scientific of the humanities. Who said this? Alfred Kroeber. Okay, a diffusionist thinker, an American school diffusionist thinker, Alfred Kroeber said this. It means if you take subjects like history, okay, or sociology, we keep them under humanities category. If you take subjects like botany, zoology, you keep them under sciences. But if you take anthropology, where should you keep it? You have to keep it under both science and humanity. And when it is a science, it is a humanistic science because it is studying about the human beings. And when it is a humanity, it is a scientific humanity because our subject is based on evidence, empirical knowledge. Is it clear? So, anthropology is both deeply humanistic. Okay, anthropology is both deeply humanistic and rigorously scientific. Its biological, cultural and social dimensions from the past to the present and the future. It is humanistic because it will ask fundamental questions about what is being human. And also it is scientific because, okay, of its methods like field work, quantitative analysis will depend on the evidence. I mean, any proposal we are going to make, we don't make it vaguely. We provide evidence for whatever we say. Then, now let us see, they are asking examples of bridging the gap between science and humanities. Let us see some beautiful examples for that. Okay, so erect posture, is it biological or social? First of all, what we want? Connect between, gap between science and humanity. Okay, bridging the science with humanity. Okay. So, just tell me erect posture. Erect posture means what? We stand on two legs and we stand straight. Is it science or humanity? It is science because it is biology. It's a biological aspect. Is that clear? That's a biological aspect. That led to change in the pelvic girdle. Yes, that is also biological. Our pelvic girdle shape changed. Because of the birth canal became narrow. Because of that, the childbirth became difficult. So what happened? Humans started giving birth to a baby which is not fully developed. It means a baby's growth and development should happen after the birth. For example, a dog's puppy can walk in just 1 week, but a human baby will walk after 1 year. It means the dog's development happened completely in the womb, but human baby's development is happening after the birth. The baby is becoming capable of walking after the birth. Okay. Why? Because it is difficult to give birth to large babies. So we give birth to small babies, means undeveloped babies. Development will happen after the birth. Because of this, what happens? Prolonged child care. That is, a dog's young one will depend on the parent dog only for 1 week. But a human baby will depend on the human parents for years together. And Indian parents for the complete life. Okay, we'll keep taking care on the children. Is it clear? So this is all biological, right? Means this is all the science part, and it is leading to the social institutions, and this is humanities part, like marriage, family, kinship. How? Why? For example, we have prolonged child care. Baby depends on the mother for 4-5 years. 4-5 years, if the mother keeps on taking care of the baby, how will she earn the resources? So the human female needed the male support. That is how the marriage started. And from the marriage started the family and kinship. So humanities aspect like marriage, family, kinship are based on the biological or scientific aspects like erect posture, pelvic girdle shape and all those things. Right. Next, erect posture. Hands became free, so the culture and civilization started. Okay, if our hands are busy walking, how do we stitch the clothes? How do we wash the clothes? How do we cook the food? How do we construct the building? Okay, so it means the humanities aspect, that is culture and civilization, is because of the scientific aspect, that is erect posture. Third one, erect posture. Because of that, there are some changes in the throat region, like the larynx position, hyoid bones position changed. Because of that, language became possible. Language comes under humanity, but erect posture and all comes under science, bridging the gap between science and humanity. Plus, nutritional anthropology, epidemiological anthropology, also you can write. That will also bridge the gap between humanities and the biological, because basically disease and nutrition are biological in nature, means scientific. But economy and political aspects will influence the access to the food, etc. So that way it is also related to humanities. One of the previous questions that we have answered, that is political economy influencing the biocultural adaptations. So that question content partly you can write here. Okay, right. Next, holism in anthropology. Relation to anthropology with other subjects like political science, economy, history, psychology, etc. makes anthropology a holistic subject. Okay, means it is also associated with medical science. Okay, like anthropometry, nutrition, and these are all sciences. Okay, and psychology also to some extent we can say. Okay, they are all sciences. Whereas political science, economy, history, philosophy, they are humanities. So anthropology is related to several sciences and several humanities. It will make anthropology a very holistic subject. Like studying evolutionary, psychological, functional approaches to religion is an example. Okay, in our syllabus, in the unit 5, there is a topic called anthropological approaches to the understanding of religion. What all are given? Functional, psychological, evolutionary. So it means it is a holistic subject. Holistic in the sense it will club all the subjects. Some of them are sciences, some of them are humanities. So on the whole, anthropology is both a science and a humanity, as Alfred Kroeber rightly stated. Okay, that is about 4A. Moving on to the next question, 4B. Okay, so okay. 4B is about write a note on Mousterian tool tradition, Mousterian culture and its makers. Okay. Mousterian tradition, it is the characteristic of the Middle Paleolithic period, and it is associated primarily with, because they are asking makers. Who are the makers of the Mousterian tools? Neanderthals and the early Homo sapiens. Okay, and what is the technique and in which phase they have made this kind of tools? Middle Paleolithic period. And then Mousterian technique is a better technique because we call this as a prepared core technique. We take the core and we will first remove the flakes all around like this. All around we will remove the flakes, so that we will create a striking platform, a flat surface, and then we will hit on this flat surface to make the tools. This is called as prepared core technique. It is a better technique when compared to the earlier techniques like Acheulean and Aldovan. Is it clear? Aldovan tools are mode 1. Okay, Acheulean tools are mode 2, and this Mousterian, they are also called as Levalloisian. Both mean the same, that is mode 3. So when compared to Aldovan tools and Acheulean tools, Mousterian tools have better technology, that is they have prepared core technique. What are the types of the tools? Scrapers. Scrapers means, okay, they are like this, to scrape anything we use, like this, to scrape the, like our peelers, knives, like that. Okay. Points. Points are like needle, like sharp tip they will have. Denticulate. Denticulate means like this, for example. Denticulate means they have teeth like pattern, so that its surface area can increase. Okay, so that it will remain sharp for a longer time. Many of our knives also have this kind of pattern. Hand axes, bolas, these are some tools of the Mousterian culture. What is the functionality? We use them for cutting, carving the wood, for processing the material, for hunting, for butchering the animals, etc. Mousterian tools or Levalloisian tools are also called as mode 3 tools. They are the characteristic of Middle Paleolithic culture. Okay, and what is the lifestyle of the Mousterian people? Their subsistence is they were hunting the big animals like mammoths, rhinoceros, deer, horse, etc. And they have seasonal mobility, seasonal activity collecting the plant food in the spring and autumn. Okay, and what are the sites? Sites are found across Europe, Middle East, Central Asia, particularly a particular site called as Lee Moustier. Based on this only they are called Mousterian tools. This kind of tools were first time found in a site, in an archaeological site called Lee Moustier. Therefore they are called Mousterian tools. Okay, these are the various sites. Okay, Kebara in Israel, Levant, okay, Gorham Cave. So these are some sites where we found the Mousterian tools, and these are the Mousterian tools: Levalloisian point, Levalloisian hand axe, Levalloisian notch, denticulate, you can observe this kind of pattern, side scraper, bifacial point. These are some tools that you can draw. Okay, moving on to the next question, that is 4C. Okay, 4C, critically examine James Frazer's theory of evolutionism. This is what I am saying. Like I said, there are 3 questions from unit 6 this year. Approximately 50 marks questions came from the unit 6. Okay, again emphasizing that unit 6 is important. So critically examine James Frazer's theory of evolutionism, elucidate the place of religion in the modernity. Okay. James Frazer do not accept magic as a science. It means according to him magic is not equal to science. But why are we discussing about magic science here? Okay, because James Frazer, his main contribution is, he explained that in any society the first stage will be magic. What is magic? Trying to control the supernatural power. Okay, it will evolve into the second stage called as religion. What is religion? Submitting to the supernatural power, not trying to control it. Okay, obedience. Magic is arrogance, that you can control the supernatural power. You can do black magic to kill somebody, you can do white magic to cause good to somebody. It means you can use supernatural power as a tool to do whatever you want. And then religion to science. Science is about not believing in supernatural powers, believing only in the natural forces. Belief only in the natural forces. Also based on the evidence. We will believe anything which is having evidence. This is called evolution. According to Frazer, magic is not equal to science. Also he called magic as bastard sister of the science or pseudo-science or semi-science. Magic is having two phases, like benevolent, that is white magic, and malevolent, that is black magic. He classified magic into two types. Okay, homeopathic magic, which is based on the law of similarity, like for example, like produces like. Okay, like a belief that gold cures jaundice, because gold is a yellow color metal, and in jaundice our body will have a yellow coloration, like that. And then contagious magic, law of contact, like for example, taking bath in the river Ganges will make you pure. It means you came in contact with the water of the river Ganges. Law of contact, that is called contagious magic. He called both the types as sympathetic magic. Okay, and James Frazer in his book called as Golden Bough, as a classical evolutionist, explained the evolution of the religion. How did he explain the evolution of the religion? Like this. This is the evolution of religion. In which book he explained the evolution of religion? Like this, in the famous book called as Golden Bough. Frazer summed up his study on magic and religion by stating that magic came first in the minds of the people. First man tried magic, it did not work out, and then he tried religion, that also did not work, and then he started depending on the science. This is how the religion evolved according to him. Okay, and what is one criticism on James Frazer? He is a prolific writer. He wrote Golden Bough, which is 12 volumes book, Totemism, which is 4-volume book, Belief in the Immortality and Worship of the Dead, 3-volume book, Folklore in Old Testament, 3-volume book. He wrote so many books. Okay, are you praising or scolding him? It is a kind of criticism, because he is criticized as armchaired anthropologist. It means these books are not based on proper field work, or they don't have enough empirical evidence. That is the criticism on him. Now discussing the place of religion in modernity. Place of religion in modernity. There is a paradox of secularization and revival. It means in the modern society, in one side we are getting secularized. One side we are getting secularized. The other side, if you observe, the significance given to religion is increasing. I mean, younger generation are preferring to do more pujas, or they are believing more in some godmen. Spirituality is kind of become a fashion trendy word. All like well-educated people are using this word, I am very spiritual, or I prefer to do lot of pujas, spiritual awakening. These kind of words became trendy if you observe. Okay, so there is, these two are opposite, isn't it? One side we are reviving the religious attitude. On the other side, we are getting secularized. Secularization or disenchantment means what? Where religious influence wanes out. I mean, religious influence on the people is decreasing. That is called as secularization. Is it clear? Viewed through a more rational and less magical sense. It means when compared to older generations, we are seeing the world in a more logical sense, not believing in magics. Like for example, if we get cancer, we prefer to go to a doctor than a magician. That way we are getting secularized. But oppositely, there is also a revival. Despite this trend, perhaps as a reaction to it, I mean, maybe people are sad that the importance of religion is decreasing. It means I'm sad that the importance given to religion is decreasing. So I will use social media platforms to again popularize the religion, to again make the younger generation move towards the religion. Okay, like for example, it has proven resilient and even experienced significant resurgence. Religion is getting resurgent, revival. Means again the importance given to religion is increasing. Like movements like Hindu nationalism, Islamic, on one side Hindus are becoming stronger Hindus. On the other side, Muslims are increasing stronger Muslims. So the conflicts between the two religions is increasing. Are we becoming more religious? Yes, in one aspect. Are we becoming less religious or secular? Yes, in one aspect. Like for example, if we get cancer, we go to doctor. That is becoming less religious. We are not going to a temple or a magician if you get cancer. Even a godman who will speak about the religion every day will also go to a doctor only if he gets some brain related issue or some other problem. Is it clear? So that way we are getting secularized, rational, importance given to religion decreasing. But on the other side, the religion based terrorism is increasing. Okay. Also we are using, okay, modernity sees religion existing in both macro level and also at the micro level, and also digital religion. That is, we are using digital technologies, online platforms like YouTube, Instagram, etc. to popularize, like Bhakti channel in the TV. It is like in the modernization only. What is the role of religion in the modernization? We are using digital technologies to popularize the religions. Okay, and like we may have different religious people may launch different YouTube channels to promote their own religions. So that is called digital religion. This digital religion concept increased in COVID-19 time. And also sometimes what happens, for example, in the recent times in my state, I noticed the emergence of some gods, okay, some goddesses and some new types of pujas, which we were not doing in the previous times. All of a sudden new pujas, new goddesses are becoming popular. That is all because of the YouTube influencers. Digital platforms are used to popularize the religions. I mean, actually, naturally over a period of time, the importance to religion will decrease. You can also draw one beautiful diagram here like this. Okay, magic, religion and science. If you observe, the scope of science is broadening. The scope of science is broadening as the societies evolve, and the scope of religion and magic decrease. See, look at here. Okay, but here, okay, the scope of magic and religion will be more. And then you can also write like this. This is primitive society and this is advanced society. Okay, so it means as the societies evolve, naturally what is expected? The importance given to religion and magic should decrease. But now people do not want the importance given to religion to decrease. So they are popularizing the religions using the modern technology. That is a summary of this answer. Is that clear? Then, okay. Next question, that is, okay, multi-species, multi-sited critical ethnography. Multi-sited means what? Okay, conducting field work in different places. What are the applications? It can be used to study the topics like migration, globalization, etc. Next, multi-species. I mean, don't study, when you do the anthropological field work, don't study only about the human beings. Also study about the animals, plants, microorganisms, etc. What is the application? Okay, examining how the humans interact with the natural world. You can understand how the humans are interacting with the other species. And lastly, what is critical ethnography? Critical ethnography is a qualitative research approach that combines ethnographic methods such as participant observation interviews with critical theory to expose the critic social injustice, inequality, power dynamics. Okay, critical ethnography is doing the field work to question the social inequalities, doing the field work to question the social inequalities. What are the applications? Analyzing how the systems of governance, economic structures, social inequalities affect the communities and the environment. Will it also affect the environment? We have discussed in a previous question. Yes, rich people can stay in a better environment, hygienic conditions, whereas the poor people are more prone to bad environment, environmental toxins and all. Okay, so you can use this and you can quote the names of some, okay, right. No, this is not for this, sorry. I will delete it later. Okay, next question, 5b. Evolutionary significance of the menopause. First of all, what is menopause? Menopause means the periods getting stopped. No more periods, no more menstruation. But if there is no menstruation for 2 months, can we call it as menopause? No. It should be for 1 complete year. Okay. For 1 complete year, there are no periods in a 5-year-old baby. Can we call it as a menopause? No. That should be in an, okay, adult woman who is not pregnant, because during pregnancy also, women will not get periods for around 9 months. Soon after the delivery also, during lactation also, the periods will not come for 4-5 months. Okay. So that is not called menopause. So if an adult woman, I mean child 1 year no periods is not menopause, pregnant lady 1 year no periods is not menopause, lactating mother no periods is not menopause. Okay, so if an adult, not pregnant, not lactating woman whose uterus is not removed, who is having an intact uterus, still you are an adult, not lactating, not pregnant, you have uterus, still not menstruating, that too for 1 complete year, that is called as menopause. Permanent cessation of the menstruation is called menopause. Usually it will occur between 40 to 60 years and the average age is around 51 years. And there are evolutionary significance of the menopause. I mean, there is a question that why do we have menopause? What is the significance of menopause? First one, menopause is a byproduct of increased longevity. Earlier, people used, what is the the life expectancy used to be around 40 years in 1930s, around 40 years in 1930s. So like if the women lived only till 40, then there is no menopause at all. So probably menopause is because of an evolutionary advantage that we are living longer. So we are having menopause. That is one reason. Second one, non-adaptive hypothesis. It means non-adaptive, it means what? A woman's body cannot get adapted or cannot get adjusted to giving birth to more children after 50. So therefore she need menopause. Periods should stop. She should not give birth to more children because her body cannot adjust to giving birth to the baby. That is called non-adaptive hypothesis. Next, adaptive hypothesis. In that you have 2, mother hypothesis, grandmother hypothesis. For example, I already have 3 children. If I give birth to the 4th one, who will take care of the first 3 children? So it means by giving birth to one more child, I am risking my first 3 children. So for me to adjust in the role of a better mother for the first 3 children, I should stop being the mother anymore. That is called mother hypothesis. Next one, grandmother hypothesis. Let us suppose like a daughter is pregnant and she went to mother's home for some support. By that time the mother is also pregnant. Let us suppose when I am pregnant, my mother is also pregnant. Then who will take care of the grandchildren? I mean, in the grandmother age, for example, 51 years is grandmother age. In the grandmother age, if you keep becoming mother, who will take care of your grandchildren? So you should stop being the mother after 51 years. Then you can play the role of the grandmother. So to adapt yourself in the grandmother's role, you have to stop becoming the mother. For that, you have to stop getting the periods. That is one reason for the menopause. Next one, the selection shadow theory. Okay, that is, when any human being or any living organism is in the reproductive age, the nature will take this organism seriously. But after the reproductive age, the nature will stop taking you seriously. Okay, so therefore what happens? Some harmful traits will not be eliminated. The accumulation of these harmful traits in the body will lead to the menopause. That is called as selection shadow theory. Okay, that's all. This is about the evolutionary significance of the menopause. Moving on to the next question, that is fission track dating method. What is fission track dating method? Look at here. Let us suppose this is a glass. This glass is having uranium-238. Naturally, it is having uranium-238. Okay. And then it will undergo the nuclear fission. Sorry, not fission, nuclear decay. Okay, nuclear decay or fission. Fission itself, nuclear fission. What do you mean by nuclear fission? One heavy atomic nucleus will split to form 2 light atomic nuclei. Is it clear? Then it will form 2 nuclei. Is it clear? Because one nucleus is splitting and the 2 nuclei will rocket away like this. They will be pushed away like this. It will create a scratch. It will make the glass look scratched. Can you see this glass looking scratched? For example, here you have, okay, here you have uranium-238. It is undergoing fission. These are the 2 daughter nuclei. Is it clear? That will create fission tracks. It will create fission track. Fission track means what? For example, if a rocket flies in the sky, you can see a white colored track. Like that, the 2 daughter nuclei, when the uranium-238 undergo fission, the 2 daughter nuclei will be pushed away like this. That will create a track, okay, lines, okay, lines on the some design pattern, lines on this glass. This is called fission track. Now the simple point is, okay, more the glass look scratched, this glass is looking very much scratched, means it is a very old glass. If it looks less scratched, it is recently made one. Okay, so that is called fission track dating. Okay, and then some volcanic material like glasses like obsidian contain uranium-238. Over time, these substances become scratched. The marks are called tracks. These are the damages caused by the fission of the uranium atoms. When the atom of uranium-238 splits, the 2 daughter nuclei or the 2 daughter atoms rocket away from each other, leaving in their way the tracks in the material in which they are embedded. Is it clear? This is how you can draw this in the exam also, value addition. Okay. Then when the mineral is heated above certain temperature, now this glass looks scratched. Now heat this glass. Then what happens? This scratching pattern will disappear. That is called as annealing. When the mineral is heated above certain temperature, the tracks can be erased. This process is called annealing. Now what is the procedure? By measuring the fossil tracks and induced tracks. Okay, I mean you take the fossil glass and you take another glass. On the fossil glass you naturally have this scratching pattern. On the other glass that you have taken for experimental purpose, you throw the neutrons on that, irradiate it. Okay, created by irradiating the sample with the neutron. See, for example, this glass is a fossil glass. Okay, and this is the test glass. This is naturally scratched, and this one you are irradiating. You are irradiating with neutrons. Okay, I mean you will project neutrons onto that. Okay, and then you will compare these two. By comparing these two, you will estimate how much irradiation is needed to get this much level of scratching. By that you can estimate for how long this particular glass was exposed to the neutrons naturally. By that you can estimate how old the sample is. That is the procedure. And why do we use only uranium-238? Why not some other atom we use? Because these isotopes have the decay rates which are other isotopes like uranium-235 etc. They have decay rates which are too low. Okay, and because etched tracks are relatively large, we can do the counting using optical microscope. I mean this scratches can be counted. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. These scratches can be counted using the optical microscope. What is the range of this dating technique? This dating technique can give you the dates. It can estimate the age of certain glasses, certain minerals which are as old as 1 lakh years ago to several billion years ago as well. And what kind of a dating technique is it? It is an interdisciplinary dating technique because it will combine the knowledge of anthropology, geology and physics, because nuclear fission is physics. Okay, and like you need geological knowledge because you have to know about the nature of this glass or the mineral. And also it is for anthropology, that is who have used this kind of substances. Okay, what kind of people have used it. So this is also interdisciplinary. So this year paper 1, if I have to describe it in a single word, it is intersectional, okay, interdisciplinary and interlinking various topics. That is describing it in one word. Next question, 5D. Mitochondrial DNA and the human evolution. Okay. Mitochondrial DNA means in the cell, most of the DNA, 99% DNA is in the nucleus. And we also have a little amount of DNA in the mitochondria. This will have around 0.1% of our DNA is in the mitochondria. We get nuclear DNA from both mother and father, but we get mitochondrial DNA only from the mother. We get mitochondrial DNA only from the mother. Okay. The landmark study in 1987, a mitochondrial DNA and human evolution by Kahn, Stoneking and Wilson, published in the magazine called Nature, in the journal called Nature. They analyzed mitochondrial DNA from different human populations and concluded that all the present humans have a common mitochondrial ancestor, common maternal ancestor who lived approximately 2 lakh years ago. It means today's Africans, Americans, Australians, Indians, Pakistanis, Russians, Chinese, Japanese, we all are from a single woman. Okay. That woman is called as the mitochondrial Eve. Okay, that woman is called as the mitochondrial Eve. Okay, the word used for it is called as mitochondrial Eve. Is it clear? If that word is not there here, note this down. Okay, Eve means what? Female. One single female. From her we all have originated. And what is the significance of mitochondrial DNA in understanding the human evolution? First of all, forget about evolution. Socially, this is very eye-opening, isn't it? I mean, two opponent countries, two religions which are hating each other, Hindus, Muslims, different countries, we all are from a single woman. Our mitochondrial DNA is very, very uniform. Okay. And then what is the significance of mitochondrial DNA in understanding the human evolution? Okay, mitochondria follow maternal inheritance. As I told you, nuclear DNA we will get both from our mother and father, but we get mitochondrial DNA only from the mother. Unlike nuclear DNA, we get mitochondrial DNA only from the mother, making it a direct lineage tracker to the female line. We can directly track our origin to a single woman. I mean, using mitochondrial DNA, we can better understand who is our ancestor. Next, high copy number. We have 99% DNA in nucleus, but we have only 2 copies. 1 copy from the mother, 1 copy from the father. But in the mitochondrial DNA, in the mitochondria, you have the DNA in thousands of copies. Same DNA you have in thousands of copies. Also, the mitochondrial DNA do not have recombination. Because it does not undergo recombination, that is exchange of genetic material, mitochondrial DNA mutations accumulate in a more predictable manner. Okay, and higher mutation rate when compared to DNA, the mitochondrial DNA mutates at a faster rate. So therefore, we can study the evolution using the mitochondrial DNA better than the nuclear DNA. Mitochondrial DNA evolves at a faster rate because usually what is the raw material for evolution? The raw material for evolution is mutation. The raw material for evolution is mutation. And mutations occur during the replication. So, therefore, what happens? Higher the rate of replication, higher will be the rate of evolution. So, the rate of evolution of mitochondrial DNA is faster when compared to the nuclear DNA. So, therefore, using mitochondrial DNA, we can better understand the evolution process. Mitochondrial DNA studies provided evidence for the pattern of human migration. Based on mitochondrial DNA, we can also understand that modern humans originated in Africa. Around 3 lakh years ago, modern humans originated. And then for 2 lakh years ago, they spent in Africa. After that, around 60 to 70,000 or 1 lakh years ago, they came out of the Africa. From Africa, they migrated to Asia and Europe around 20 to 30,000 years ago. Okay, this concept also we understood from the mitochondrial DNA. I repeat, around 3 lakh years ago, we have originated in Africa, and from Africa, okay, around 1 lakh years ago, okay, and maybe you can say that it is written 70,000, you are saying 1 lakh, it's okay, because these are not fixed numbers. We don't know exactly when they migrated out of Africa, and we also do not know for sure that we got originated only in Africa. That is a theory called out of Africa theory, but of course most accepted theory is that. So most probably we were originated in Africa, but exactly what date we migrated out of Africa is not clear. Around 1 lakh years ago, some sources may also say 70,000, 60, it's fine. Then after that they migrated to different continents. How did you understand all these things? By analyzing, by comparing the mitochondrial DNA of different populations. Okay, next question, 5E. Fetal origin of adult diseases. It means as an adult what diseases we get have an origin in our fetal stage. For example, as a fetus, if my mother is malnourished during her pregnancy, as a fetus if I was undernourished, as an adult I am more prone to coronary artery disease. Is it clear? Okay, if the mother is malnourished, the fetus during the pregnancy will get malnourished. Then the child after the birth, when he becomes an adult, he may have a higher chance of getting coronary artery disease. Who said this? Okay, David Barker. Based on what? Certain records in the UK, United Kingdom. Barker's hypothesis is, he proposed that suboptimal fetal environment, suboptimal means if the fetus do not have optimum conditions such as maternal undernutrition etc., lead to permanent changes in the individual's structure, physiology, endocrine status. Endocrine means what? Hormones. Is it clear? Okay, and this is called as fetal origin of adult diseases. As a fetus, if I do not experience optimal conditions, I will get permanent changes in my structure, physiology, that is respiratory and circulatory, digestive, different systems of our body, endocrine, that is our hormones, and all these things, permanent changes. This is called Barker's hypothesis. Okay, permanent adaptations. The developing fetus adapts to the nutrient scarcity. Interesting. Okay. Let us suppose my mother is malnourished. As a fetus, I experienced malnourishment. Then what I will do? I will try to adapt to the nutrient scarcity. I will know that there is nutrient scarcity. I will try to adjust to the nutrient scarcity. For that, what I will try to do? I will try to store the glucose in my blood, store more glucose in my blood. That is nothing but diabetes. So, these children have a high chance of getting diabetes. Is it clear? How deep linkings observe? Fascinating. If the pregnant lady is malnourished, her child as an adult may get diabetes. Why? The child is, as a fetus, adapting to the conditions by trying to maintain high sugar levels. That is nothing but diabetes. Such genotypes are called as thrifty genotypes. Okay, and this Ford, fetal origin of adult diseases, is later made into a more broader concept called as developmental origins of the health and disease. Okay, Barker modified the word as developmental origins of the health and disease. Okay, and what is the significance of studying such things? Anthropological applications, you have public health and policy applications we have, like say for example midday meal scheme, Nikshay Poshna Yojana. So like that different nutrition providing schemes can be planned, and it will give an understanding that prenatal care is better to reduce the disease burden in the later life. Okay, if the government do not take care of the pregnant ladies, in future the government should spend more on the treatment of diseases to the adult population. Healthy adult population will not be formed. This is the relevance of this concept, fetal origin of adult diseases, contribution of David Barker. Okay, next question, 6a. What are the genetic markers? Discuss the applications in understanding population origin, disease association, forensics, etc. Okay, right. First, what is a genetic marker? Genetic marker can be any gene or any DNA sequence. It need not be a gene, it can be junk DNA also. Basically, okay, it can be a gene or any DNA sequence of a known location. I mean, we should know where is this gene located, on which chromosome it is. And we can use genetic markers to identify individuals. I mean, using a genetic marker, you can say that this is Hima Bindu. You can identify a person. Also, you can identify groups. You can say that these are the Jewish people. These are the Arya Vaishya community. You can also identify group of people, a caste, an ethnic group or a race based on the genetic markers. You can also identify species, means looking at this gene, you can say that this is a dog. If this gene is present, it is a cat. If this gene is present, it is a human. If this gene is present, it is an Australopithecus, like that. We can identify the species. That is a genetic marker. Okay, and then applications of genetic markers for the studying of disease causing genes, like say for example high frequency of sickle cell anemia, thalassemia, glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase deficiency, okay, are in Africa, India, Greece, Algeria, Sicily, Tunisia, Palestine and around the Mediterranean Sea. In that particular geographic region, the diseases like sickle cell anemia, thalassemia, G6PD deficiency are more common. Why? Because they all are RBC related diseases. So they all will give survival advantage to malaria. Because Plasmodium parasite resides in the RBC, Plasmodium do not want a defective RBC, it wants a healthy RBC. Is that clear? Okay. So same way for studying the age, I hope the population variation is clear. Now age variation. For example, embryonic hemoglobin only in the embryos, fetal hemoglobin only in the fetus, adult hemoglobin only in the adult. It means if you have HbA, okay, it means it is an adult. Okay, it will mark, this particular gene will mark that individual as an adult, like that. Like for example, sex, Y gene, Y chromosome is a marker for male. It means if you have Y chromosome, it means it is male. I hope you better understood what is genetic marker. If you have Y chromosome, it means it is like a marker for, it's like a marker for male. It will mark that individual as a male. Same way, if you have high frequency of these diseases, means it will mark it as an African population or a Mediterranean population in general. Okay, and if you have fetal hemoglobin, it will mark it as a fetus. So like that, population variation, sex variation, age variation, and also individual variation like VNTR, variable number of tandem repeats, short tandem repeats, RFLP, restriction fragment length polymorphism, in the DNA fingerprinting or DNA barcoding or DNA profiling, you can use multiple names for it. Okay. So these things you can use to identify the individual. You can also write contemporary relevance, like you can write about the recent flight crash. In the flight crash, okay, there will be a lot of dead bodies, remains. It is very impossible to identify the remains. We use DNA fingerprinting. We can use it in forensic cases, disputed paternity cases. Also you can use it in mass calamities, okay, mass calamities like plane crashes, bombings, etc. We can use in rape cases, murder cases, we can use. You can also quote examples like Naina Sahni case or Shraddha Walkar's case. So like that, okay, or the recent plane crash case. So such examples are also important. You have to relate it to the news also. Okay, then moving on to the next question, the question number 6b. The agenda of biological anthropology became more scientific from the middle of the 20th century. Justify. The biological anthropology from the middle of the 20th century became more rational, logical, scientific. First feel proud about it. Okay, after that we will discuss the question. Okay, so the agenda of the biological anthropology became more scientific in the recent times. So let us justify what it is. Okay, the agenda of biological or physical anthropology became more scientific from the mid 20th century. How? First one, shift from racial typologies. I mean before 20th century or in the beginning of the 20th century, we believed that we have races. Then you might be thinking, what is about believing that we have races? We have races, right? No, we don't have races. So present belief is that race is a myth. Okay, all human beings are one, and I just told you that mitochondrial Eve, we all are from a single woman in Africa. Okay, our mitochondrial DNA is so similar. Is it clear? Like that. So in the late 19th centuries or early 20th century, we believed in racial typologies. From that, we are shifting to evolutionary process. We are still evolving. moving away from the classification using craniometry, anthropometry. You know, Samuel Morton, the father of scientific racism, the reason for the historic horrors like the Nazi genocide and all that, okay, is from an idea that the European people who have a bigger head, cranium, are more intelligent people, and the African people who have small head, so they have small brain, so they are less intelligent people. Okay, this led to the idea that, okay, this made the Nazis believe that we are superior human beings, okay, and God specially created us to be more intelligent when compared to the Jewish people. So it is our responsibility to purify the human race by eliminating the Jewish people. Okay, this kind of concept is called eugenics. The word eugenics. Eu means what? Normal. Genic means birth. Please note that is not eugenetics. Eugenics, normal birth. Okay, that is well born. Well born. I mean born healthy. Born healthy. Okay, so in this you can have two types of approaches. Born healthy, you can have positive eugenics, negative eugenics. Positive eugenics is about prenatal diagnosis, okay, and terminating the pregnancy. I mean doing it in a positive way. Negative eugenics examples are genocides or mass sterilizations. Presently, the animal lovers are against, okay, protecting the rights of the animals, but in those days human rights were also not protected. Okay, so humans were just caught and they are sterilized en masse without asking their opinion. I don't want to be sterilized, I want to have the children, but still they will catch me and sterilize. So, or they will catch me and kill, gas chambers, mass killings, okay, all that with the idea that I am superior when compared to you. All that came from the race concept, classificatory approach. I mean, can I say that this, okay, classification of the people into races using craniometry, measuring the head, and anthropometry leading to negative eugenics and genocide is a pseudoscience. Is it really scientific? No, it is pseudoscience. It is less scientific. Because we know that our intelligence do not depend only on our head size. In that case, I should be the most intelligent person. Okay. So, our intelligence is not only based on the head size. It is also based on the number of neurons we have, the length of the neurons, the number of folds on our cerebral cortex, like that. Is it clear? Okay. So, that is actual science. This is, it looks like science, but it is not science. Misused the science to kill those people. Okay. This happened in the olden days, but from the mid 20th century, what happened? We started better understanding the evolutionary history of the human beings. And integration of the biological sciences, like we started merging the Darwinism with Mendelian genetics and proposing the theories like Hardy-Weinberg law, synthetic theory, and neo-Darwinism to explain the process of human evolution. From the pseudoscience, semi-science, we are moving towards science, better science, being more scientific. Is it clear? Actually, you can also use this particular diagram given by Frazer here also. Not completely related, but still you can use. Okay. And also the rise of new methods like DNA analysis, genetics, chronological and radiometric dating. It means what? More technology, more development in the science. Okay. So you don't have to believe that it is old. You can measure how old it is using the craniometric dating technology. The scientific development from the mid 20th centuries was spearheaded by the figures like Sherwood Washburn with his new physical anthropology in 1951. The field expanded to include paleoanthropology, that means Not only studying about the human beings, studying about the primates, accepting that we are originated from the apes. Primatology is accepting that we are originated from the apes. But before the mid 20th century, people were egoistic. They did not want to accept that we are originated from the apes. We wanted to believe that we are the favorite children of the God. God separately created the human beings to be special organisms. But later we became more scientific and started understanding that we are originated from the other primates like apes. We started using the genetic markers, we started using biocultural approach, and anthropology became more scientific, more holistic after the mid 20th century. And also we are collaborating with many other subjects like physics, like say for example fission track dating, collaboration with physics, psychology, chemistry. So we are history, geography, geology, okay, medical science. We are collaborating with various sciences. So on the whole, from the mid 20th century, anthropology is becoming more scientific. Okay, not only anthropology, particularly the biological anthropology is becoming more scientific after mid 20th century. These are all the examples in support. Moving on to the next question, 6C. Okay. Describe briefly the theoretical perspectives in linguistic anthropology to explain the relationship of culture, language and thought. Okay. So we have to explain the relationship of culture, language, thought. What are the theories? We need theories that link, again intersectional question. This year paper, if I have to describe it in a single word, it is cross-sectional, intersectional, overlapping, okay, interconnecting, interlinking various topics, okay. Introduction. So these are the model answers to write these questions properly, and in the exam if such question comes, write whatever that comes into your mind. That is the strategy. But that is the strategy when you don't know the question, after you give all your effort to understand that question. First theory is about Sapir-Whorf theory. This theory states that culture influence language and language influence culture. In the Sapir-Whorf hypothesis, we have a rigid viewpoint that is called linguistic determinism. It will state that the language completely determines our thought process and culture. Next one is linguistic relativity. Excuse me, just 1 second. Rigid form linguistic determinism says that language completely determines our thought process and culture. Linguistic relativity states that it is flexible form of Sapir-Whorf hypothesis. Okay, it will say that language do not completely determine, but it will influence our thought process and the culture. Okay, it will influence our thought process and the culture. Okay, and next theory after Sapir-Whorf hypothesis is cognitive universalism. This perspective argues that despite linguistic differences, though we speak different languages, we all share some fundamental cognitive processes. We all think similarly. You can use the word psychic unity of mankind. We all think alike. Okay, for example, monogamy you find in multiple countries, multiple societies. Capitalism you find everywhere, democracy you find everywhere. Why are we thinking similar even though we speak different languages? That is cognitive universalism, psychic unity of mankind. Though we speak different languages, we all think alike. Next, Vygotsky's theory. This theory emphasizes that intellectual development is a social process. I mean, our intellectual development will happen through social interactions, and the social interactions are through language. So language will influence our intellectual development. Okay, and conclusion, these theories explore how the language, culture and thought are interconnected. You can write a conclusion like that. Okay, I hope this is clear. Okay, Sapir-Whorf hypothesis, Culture influence language, language influence culture. Particularly, language influence our thought process and culture. In this rigid variant, linguistic determinism, language completely decides or determines our thought process and culture. Flexible one, linguistic relativity. Okay, I mean language will not completely decide, but it will influence our thought process and the culture. Next one, cognitive universalism. It means language do not influence our thought process. That is the reason why despite speaking different languages, we all think alike. Cognitive universalism. Cognitive means ideas, universal ideas, or also called as psychic unity of mankind. And the Vygotsky's theory, this theory will argue that the intellectual development happens through social interaction and the social interaction happens through language. So therefore, language is key in the development of our intellectuality. Okay, and finally you can conclude. Next question. Okay, 7a. How the study of variation in the form of marriage led to rethinking the concepts of social reproduction, kinship and family. First of all, very interesting question. Where will you get it? From the syllabus? No. From the newspapers? No. From the other textbooks? No. Brainstorming and general observation of the society. Just keep observing what is happening around you, how the society is perceiving the things, and then be ready to actively do the brainstorming in the exam hall. This is what is needed for at least 30% of the questions this year. Not syllabus, no textbook, no material, social observations and brainstorming. Okay, and look at the question. The question here is variation in the forms of marriage. What are the variations in the, what are the new types of marriages we are getting? Okay, dink couple, dual income, no kids. We both should earn, we both should go to trips, enjoy. Okay, don't keep the burden of the kids. Is it clear? Open marriages, I mean we both will get married, but the wife is open to have sexual relations outside and the husband is open to have sexual relations outside. And then homosexual marriages, lesbian, gay marriages, intercaste marriages, fragile marriages with increase in the divorce rate. These are the new forms of marriages. Okay, so first part we have completed, that is variation in the forms of the marriages. Now how it will lead to rethinking on the concepts of social reproduction, kinship, family. So kinship, family, okay. First, what do you mean by this word? It's a new word. What do you mean by social reproduction? Reproduction means what? Giving birth to the child. Social reproduction means giving birth to legitimate child. Giving birth to legitimate child. Socially accepted child. Socially accepted child. Because of this, what is happening is the society is rethinking on why should I accept, why should I give respect to only the children born out of monogamy? Maybe homosexual couple, okay, a lesbian couple had a child through surrogacy. We should accept such children also. It means what? We are rethinking on what is a legitimate child. At a given point of time, we used to think that only the child born from a monogamous marriage, okay, is a legitimate child. Man, woman will marry, one man, one woman will marry. After that, they will give birth to the child. Only that child used to be respected in the society. But now, society is accepting the children born. For example, some Sushmita Sen adopted the children before getting married, without getting married. I don't want marriage, but I want kids. Society is accepting, praising her, that how bold she is. Is it clear? Okay. So, I hope you understood the meaning of the question. You have to beat around the bush then. Is it clear? Okay. So, it means the society is rethinking on who is the legitimate child. Earlier used to think that only the children born from the monogamous marriage. Now, no marriage, broken marriage, single school textbooks including the single parent family also has a complete family. In the types of families lesson in the children's textbooks, now they have added single parent family as a type of the family. Is it clear? Okay. So, challenging the universal model on the family. Earlier we used to think that only the monogamous family is universal, but now different types of families are possible, broken families, single parent families, okay, like that. Rethinking on kinship. Earlier we used to think that only the relatives are the true relatives, but now Rakhi brother, Rakhi sister, fictitious kin, fictitious kin. You may give more importance to your Rakhi brother than your original brother. With your original brother, you talk to him, say hi, hello once in a week, but with your Rakhi brother, you are on phone call for 2 hours every day. So this is rethinking on kinship, okay. And revising the social reproduction, shifting the purpose of earlier marriage was to give birth to the children, but now people get married but no children, dual income, no kids. That's a new trend. Is it clear? Okay. Rejecting the marriage, open marriage, individual autonomy. People started giving importance to my space. I want my space. I don't like earlier married woman or married man used to think that, okay, I'm totally his or I'm totally hers, but now the wife and husband are expecting some personal space. Is it clear? And what are the key drivers in the change? What is the reason for this kind of change? Globalization and migration, feminist movements, cultural and legal shifts. Okay, cultural shifts means accepting the homosexuality and all. Legal shifts are decriminalizing the intercaste marriages, decriminalizing the same-sex marriages or homosexuality, or decriminalizing the adultery. Now even adultery is not a criminal offense because two consenting adults can have sex even if they are married to the other people. Okay, so it means what? Law became more embracing, more accepting, more broader. Societies became more accepting. Different types of marriages, different types of children, different types of relatives, fictitious kin we call, are being accepted. That is the answer to this question. Moving on to the next question. Okay, 7b. What are the major theories proposed in support to the origin of the food production? How the change in the subsistence economy brought revolution during this period? What is that period? This period means what? Neolithic period. You all know that neo-evolutionist called Gordon Childe. He is also an archaeologist. Archaeologist and neo-evolutionist called Gordon Childe popularized the term called Neolithic Revolution. And what is Neolithic Revolution? A revolutionary change, I mean fundamental change in the lifestyle and culture. Why this much change is happening in the lifestyle and culture? Because the food gathering economy changed into food producing economy. So, you are not being chased by a tiger today. You are happily sitting in an AC room, and then you will get questions like, why am I born? What is the purpose of my life? What is my ambition? I am getting bored. To whom should I talk? This kind of ideas you will not get if you are being chased by a tiger or you are chasing an animal to hunt. Is it clear? So, settled way of life led to the philosophy, religion, okay, marriage, family, kinship, all these things started with the food gathering economy changing into food producing economy. In which stage it happened? Okay, that Neolithic period. Therefore, it is called Neolithic Revolution. A revolutionary or a fundamental or a major or a basic change in the lifestyle and culture due to the invention of the food production is called Neolithic Revolution. Okay, but now the question is how the food production started, how we started producing the food. I mean, it means how did we start agriculture and how did we start animal domestication? How did we start agriculture and how did we start animal domestication? First one, Gordon Childe's Oasis theory. This theory suggests that the end of the Pleistocene epoch, onset of the Holocene epoch, there was a severe drought. Is it clear? humans, plants, animals were forced to come together at the place of oasis. See, drought, water scarcity, water available only near the oasis. So, humans, plants, animals, all of them came towards the oasis. So, now what happened? Interaction between humans, plants and animals increased. Interaction between human and plants led to agriculture, and interaction between human and animal led to pastoralism. Okay, I repeat, drought, water scarcity, oases are the only place where you have water. Humans, plants, animals came together near the oasis, and then interaction between humans and plants led to agriculture, interaction between humans and animals led to pastoralism. Is that clear? Humans and plants, agriculture, humans and animals, pastor. That is oasis theory. Next one, Lewis Binford's marginal zone theory. Hunter-gatherer groups normally maintained a balance within their environment. Growing population in prime hunting-gathering areas led to migration into the marginal zones. Okay, see, this is a place where they are hunting. But now here the resources got exhausted. And then they will go to marginal areas. They will go to marginal areas. In marginal areas, there is no animals to hunt. So what you have to do? You have to do agriculture. You have to grow them. Okay. Or you have to grow the plants, or you have to grow the animals. Pastoralism means maintaining a herd of animals. Is it clear? Okay. Marginal zones, nuclear zones are the place where there are more plants and animals. You can hunt them, or you can gather the fruits and vegetables. But there the population density increased. So the people migrated to marginal zones or hill flank regions, hilly flank regions. There you don't have rich fruits and vegetables to gather, or you don't have many animals to hunt. So you started growing them. You don't have plants, so grow them, agriculture. You don't have animals, so grow them, it is pastoralism. That is how the agriculture and pastoralism, that is food production, started. Kent Flannery's theory. A broader process involving socio-cultural, biological, environmental factors. It is not one factor. Multiple factors together led to the food production is Kent Flannery's theory. Population pressure theory. That is, population is increasing and growing population cannot subsist on the naturally available resources. So the growing population should grow the food along with them. That is population pressure theory. Next one, feasting theory. I want to give party. I want to give feast. For me to eat, I have enough food, but I don't have enough food to give the party. For that, I started growing the food. Agriculture and pastoralism started to give feast to the other people. Okay. And you can also write the consequences of Neolithic revolution. And also you can locate the Neolithic sites in a map for value addition. Okay. And then moving on to the next question, 7C. Okay, that is critically discuss the centrality of African continent in the narrative of the human evolution. Okay, in the earlier question called mitochondrial DNA, mitochondrial Eve, I told you. Okay, you can draw like this. Okay, say Africa. Okay, Homo sapiens originated 3 lakh years ago, and around 1 lakh years ago they migrated out of Africa, and somewhere here this place is called Levant. Here they interbred with Neanderthals. They interbred with Neanderthals, and from there they migrated to Asia and Europe. So presently we have around, look at this point, okay, presently we have around, see, recent genetic studies revealed that Homo sapiens originated in Africa around 3 lakh years ago, left Africa around 1 lakh years ago, Then they bred with the Neanderthals after they left Africa, but before they spread to Asia and Europe. Somewhere in a likely location is Levant. Therefore, at present, Europeans and Asians have Neanderthal DNA, but Africans do not have Neanderthal DNA. Okay, because of this what happens? Okay, the Asians and Europeans have Neanderthal DNA. Present. Here also Neanderthal DNA present, but Africans do not have Neanderthal DNA. Why Africans do not have Neanderthal DNA? Because they mated, interbred with Neanderthals after they left Africa. So the people who stayed back in Africa, they did not mate with the Neanderthals. So this is proving, this particular genetic study, okay, is proving, this study is published in the newspapers, okay, it published in the journals, famous journals like Science, Nature, etc. Okay, also we got to see that as a news in the newspapers. Okay, this genetic study will prove the out of Africa theory. What is the significance of Africa in the human evolution? Our birthplace. Okay, and then Olduvai Gorge in Tanzania, East Africa. Okay, it is UNESCO's World Heritage Site. We know that we got originated in Africa, but we don't know exactly where in Africa. But if you have to say one place, I mean if you force me to, no ma'am, tell me one place, what is our birthplace, means it can be Olduvai Gorge. Is it clear? Okay, and it creates a complete record. Only in Olduvai Gorge you got Homo habilis, Paranthropus boise, Homo erectus and Homo sapiens. So it means only if you study Olduvai Gorge also you can understand the human evolution. One place, these many, they got Homo habilis 1.9 million years ago, Paranthropus boise 1.8 million years ago, Homo erectus 1.2 million years ago, Homo sapiens 3 lakh years ago, I mean 0.3 million years ago. A continuous record of human evolution just in one place called Olduvai Gorge. Where is Olduvai Gorge? In Tanzania, East Africa. That is one significance of centrality of African continent in the narrative of the human evolution. It is our birthplace. Okay. Then the role of environmental stability. African environment is stable. So kind of floods and all are less. So the chance of losing the fossils is less. So there is a record of all the fossils properly maintained. Okay, and another proof is we have more genetic diversity in African population, less diversity in Europe and Asia, but more diversity in Africa, proving that we got originated in Africa and only some of the people migrated to Asia, Europe and other continents. And that is called founder effect or bottleneck effect. I mean more diversity here, like a bottleneck, you can draw like this. Okay, more genetic diversity in Africa, and as you go up the diversity decreasing. This is called bottleneck effect or founder effect. Why this is called founder effect? Okay, because Homo sapiens originated in Africa. Is that clear? From there they migrated to Asia. So for Asia they are the founders. They founded a new continent. Okay, and they migrated to Europe. It means they founded Europe. They are the founders, I mean first people. And this point I already explained. You can also write about the mitochondrial Eve. So this is all the significance of Africa. Okay, in the centrality of Africa in the human evolution. You can also write more points. Australopithecus 3.2 million years ago in Ethiopia. Homo habilis 2.4 million years ago in Olduvai Gorge. Homo erectus, which is called Homo ergaster, 2 million years ago in South Africa, Kenya and Tanzania. Homo sapiens, okay, in Morocco around 3 lakh years ago. Homo kibish in Ethiopia, etc. Okay, this is a centrality of Africa in the human evolution. Okay, Till now, I just brainwashed you that man originated in Africa, that too in Olduvai Gorge and all that. But do we have any criticism to this out of Africa theory? Yes. Multi-regional hypothesis. Simple. This hypothesis states that man did not originate only in Africa. Homo sapiens simultaneously originated in different continents. Next, trellis theory is multi-regional hypothesis only, that is Homo sapiens originated in different continents simultaneously, but also there is a constant gene flow between them. Okay, like this gene flow. This is called trellis theory. Gene flow means what? Okay, Homo sapiens originated in Africa, blue Africa, okay, light blue Europe, yellow Asia and Oceania. Okay, Homo sapiens originated independently, simultaneously in all the 4 continents, and also they are exchanging the genes. I mean, they were mating with each other always. This is called trellis theory. This is called multi-regional hypothesis. I mean, man did not originate only in Africa, originated simultaneously in Africa, Europe, Asia, Oceania. This is out of Africa theory. Man originated only in blue color, only in Africa. So the other 3 theories are the critics of the out of Africa theory. That's all. Moving on to the next question, 8a. How the theory of postmodernism, how the theories of postmodernism okay, are relevant in promoting the social justice, empowering the marginal communities. What is the role of postmodernism in social justice and empowering the marginal communities? Okay, first we have to know what is postmodernism. Postmodernism literary meaning is after the modernity. And Jean-Francois Lyotard in his famous book called The Postmodern Condition defined postmodernism as incredulity towards meta-narratives. Incredulity means what? Skepticism, questioning, not believing anything blindly. Okay, even for meta-narratives. Meta-narratives means famous opinions. Even if it is a very famous opinion, don't believe it blindly. Is it clear? That is called postmodernism. These are the leading figures: Michael Agar, Jean Baudrillard, Jacques Derrida, Michael Foucault, Clifford Geertz. These are some famous figures in postmodernism. Then what are the principal concepts of the postmodernism? First one is polyvocality. Polyvocality means multiple truths. Like say for example, if a person standing on the ground looking at the flight flying in the sky will say that the flight is like a small bird, it is true, he is not cheating, he is not lying. And if a person in the airport ready to board the flight says that the flight is like a huge vehicle, he is also correct, he is also not cheating or lying. I mean, truth is not absolute. We don't have one truth, we have multiple truths. That is called polyvocality. And relativism is also a similar concept, saying that the truth is relative, we don't have absolute truth. Okay, people have different versions. Okay, and self-reflexivity, it means I should question myself also. Just like you should not believe the grand narratives blindly, you should not even believe yourself blindly. So that these are some principal concepts of postmodernism. There are more concepts also, but I have limited it here. Next. Okay, we understood what is postmodernism, but how can it promote social justice? That is important. First one, deconstructing the dominant narratives. For example, let us suppose earlier the notion was only, for example, only Nazis are great. Okay, that is their truth. But no, we are also great. Jewish people may say that no, we are also great. Or earlier the notion was Brahmins are superior. One truth. But postmodernism says that no, lower caste people are also great. Lower caste people also have their own version of the reality. So obviously, will it deconstruct the dominant narratives? It will give voice to the marginalized people. Their version of the story also will be heard. That is the role of postmodernism. valuing multiple perspectives, agreeing that there can be multiple versions of the truth, empowering the marginalized voice to tell their versions of the stories. Okay, this is your version of the story. What is the other person version of the story? For example, you just come to me saying that, ma'am, we both are fighting with each other. Okay, you will tell me your version, but I should ask you, okay, this is your version, but what is the other person's version? Maybe you are the actual culprit. That is called as postmodernism. Criticizing the oppressive power structure, that is higher caste oppressing the lower caste, dominant religions oppressing the minority religions, okay, dominant race oppressing the minority races, like that, okay, leading to identity movements like Dalit movement, okay, or anti-apartheid movement by the blacks. Apartheid is a constitutional racism. And then recognition of diversity in ideas. It's not that only my idea is correct. It will also give rise to a famous anthropological concept called as cultural relativism. Is that clear? So this is the role of, and also encouraging the participation of the knowledge creation. Everybody will participate in creating the knowledge. It is not that you tell, I will listen. I can also tell, I have even my versions of the story. Promoting flexible, non-essential views on identities and social structures. Okay, so this is how postmodernism can help in uplifting or empowering the marginal sections. And this is how postmodernism can lead to social justice. Okay, then moving on to the last but one question, that is 8b. Genome-wide association studies advanced our understanding of health and disease. It means genome studies helped us to better understand the diseases, that's all. Okay, so genome-wide association studies are powerful research methods. I hope the word is clear. Genome-wide association studies. Study the genome. Okay, first of all, what do you mean by the genome? Genome is one set of all chromosomes in a cell, that is 23 chromosomes is equal to one genome. Okay, now if you analyze the entire genome, okay, you will better understand the disease and health. What gene is responsible? For example, genome-wide association study. If I analyze the genome of a person, I can say that there is this BRCA1 gene. So this person can get breast cancer in future. Or this person is having a gene for Alzheimer's. So he may get Alzheimer's in the old age. That is nothing but the genome-wide association study. First you have to, what is the procedure? First you have to select the participants. I mean, whose genome do you analyze? Okay, for example, you have the projects like this, Human Genome Project, Genome Asia 100K project. 100K means what? 1 lakh genomes from all Asian countries. Okay, Indigen project, 10,000 genomes. Is it clear? Okay, it means what? First step is participants. Select that 1 lakh people. Select that 10,000 people whose genomes you want to analyze. Next one, collect their DNA. How do you collect? Either take the blood sample or the cheek sample. Okay, you scrape the cheek, you will get some cells, from that you can extract the DNA, cheek swab. Okay, then genome, third step, do the DNA sequencing. That is, analyze the nucleotide sequence of that genome. Is it clear? Okay, and then what is the role? You can understand complex genetic diseases like polygenetic diseases like diabetes, heart disease, Parkinson's, etc. And you can study new pathways to understand the disease mechanism and understand the personal risk prediction, like what is your risk of getting cancer, what is his risk of getting Alzheimer's, like that. CRISPR-Cas9 based gene editing, gene therapy are also possible because of the genome-wide association studies. Not only understanding the reason for the genetic diseases, we can also understand how to cure the genetic diseases. Next, contemporary relevance. What are some projects, scientific projects in the genome studies? Human Genome Project, the first one, it is an international project. Sequencing 1 lakh human genomes across the Asian countries, Genome Asia 100K. Indigen project, sequencing the genomes of only Indians. HGP, right, it is not sequencing the genome, it is creating a new genome, creating an artificial genome. Baby Seek project in USA, okay, that is sequencing the genomes of every newborn baby to predict the future possibility of the diseases. And then Cas9 is a CRISPR-Cas9 based technique to cure the genetic diseases like beta thalassemia, sickle cell anemia, etc. So it means genome-wide association studies will help us to understand and predict the future possibility of getting diseases, not only predicting a disease but also gene therapy and gene editing using CRISPR-Cas9 like Cas9 techniques to cure the genetic diseases is also possible by analyzing the genomes. Last question. Examine the utility of human remains in forensic analysis and forensic facial reconstruction. Okay, what is the utility of human remains in forensic analysis? Using the human remains, I mean skeletal remains or bones, you can identify the age of the dead person, sex of the dead person, height of the dead person, race of the dead person. But UNESCO banned the word race, so we are using the word ethnicity. Next, forensic experts use methods like DNA analysis, skeletal analysis, dental records and postmortem. Postmortem means after the death, imaging of the dead bodies or the skeletal remains, okay, to solve the legal cases. Not only legal cases, disaster victims like the plane crash, bombing, etc. What is forensic facial reconstruction? If you watch any crime thriller movie, you will see an artist, okay, the policeman will describe the criminal or an eyewitness will describe the criminal and an artist will be drawing the sketch of that criminal. That is nothing but two-dimensional facial reconstruction, reconstructing the face of either the criminal or the victim to identify the criminal or the victim. Next, three-dimensional is not drawing, sculpture, okay, I mean I am by using clay or the other material, I am sculpting the face of the criminal or the victim. That is called three-dimensional. In that you have manual or traditional. In manual we keep applying clay, wax or substance called mastic, okay, and to construct a three-dimensional face. And in this you have different methods like Krogman method, Gerasimov method and Manchester method, etc. Next, computerized method. Here we don't use wax or clay. We create like artificial intelligence generated virtual face we create. Is it clear? What is the procedure? First, data collection. How to do the data collection? Take CT scan or physical skull, etc. and calculate the tissue depth. I mean, if the cheek bones are this much, how much deep cheek muscle is possible on that? Make such mathematical calculations. And then keep that much amount of clay here. And then finally do retouchings, I mean little shape the nose, cheeks and all, you will get the final face. That is the procedure. So that's all. We analyzed the paper 1 of 2025 Anthropology Optional. In another session, I will analyze the paper 2 in depth. Thank you so much. Bye bye.